10 o'clock. Welcome to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you can call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award, on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. Or email us at perkinsonline@cwjamaica.com. You can also listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Perkins Online on Power 106 FM. Now here's your host, Wilmot Mutty Perkins.
Okay, morning everybody, morning and welcome once again to Perkins Online. Today is the 21st of December. 10 days to go to the end of the year. And what is it? Today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. When is Christmas? Monday. So 4 days to go to Monday, no? To Christmas. And another 10 to the end of the year 2006. It would be good too if we could have a discussion about what has been achieved in the year 2006, and what we might hope for in 2007. I'm sure that if Mr. Michael Manley was still around and still Prime Minister, he'd be telling us in his New Year message, as he constantly did during the 1970s, that he could see a light at the end of the tunnel. And Jamaica was on the threshold of a new beginning. That message is coming from some sources. I haven't heard Sister P with it yet. But we have it on good authority, that of that of Mr. Dr. Greenspin, that the economy is about to take off. Of course, there can be a takeoff to the stratosphere, and there can be a takeoff to the bottom of the sea. I wonder which one of those it is. On the verge of a takeoff. Boy, we've been hearing that kind of thing from. And I mean, I believe it is poised for a takeoff. I believe we have heard that there's a likelihood of 5 or 6% growth next year. Oh boy, I wonder what is going to cause that. Anyway, one doesn't want to be excessively optimistic only to be disappointed. But on the other hand, one would hope that whatever misgivings one might have, that the thing will come true, what is being predicted. One would like to see 6 or 7% growth next year. Question is whether it is reasonable to expect that. You know, I think that the Labour Party is slipping in its management of its election campaign, you know. They ought to have arranged to have the stone pollers go down to St. Lucia, and they too might have predicted a landslide victory for the Gonzalez government. Is it Gonzalez? Whatever the name of the former Prime Minister. They too might have predicted a landslide victory. And I think people would have been a little more skeptical than they might now be concerning the poll results that are now being put out. We are told in the Observer this morning that the marginality, I beg your pardon, the marginally higher support for Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller over opposition leader Bruce Golding remains unchanged since October, although the percentage of those who say that they don't know who is the best person to run the country increased significantly. No? Slightly, I beg your pardon. Increased slightly. The latest stone poll has found. At the same time, the pollsters said their December survey unearthed an interesting paradox in opinions of the Prime Minister. On the one hand, the electorate is somewhat less satisfied at the moment with how she is doing her job than with how Bruce Golding is doing his. Yet, more people see her as the best person to be Prime Minister than Bruce Golding Stone said. Now, this is most interesting. The Stone pollsters are telling you something about the people of Jamaica. They are less satisfied with how Prime Minister Portia Simpson is doing her job than they are with how Mr. Bruce Golding, as leader of the opposition, is doing his job. But they still think the one who is doing the job less well is the one they want to see running the country. That is very interesting. And they go on and on talking a whole lot of other nonsense coming out of their latest poll. Polls are not to be relied on. At the best of times, this doesn't necessarily mean have anything to do with the integrity of the pollster. Pollster might be doing his best, and at the same time coming up with unreliable information. On the other hand, the pollster can be giving you information that he or somebody else connected with him and his polling wants you to believe. And you have no way of knowing which pollster is telling you the truth as he found it, and whether what he found to be true is in fact true. You have no way of testing that. So my advice to people is to regard the polls as entertainment. Right? Read them, enjoy the entertainment, but make up your own minds on the facts as you see them and vote accordingly. Right? If you really think that Portia Simpson is the best person to lead the country, vote for Portia Simpson. If you think Bruce Golding the best person, vote for Bruce Golding. But do not be influenced. Do not allow yourself to be influenced by polls. Take a lesson from the people of St. Lucia. If they had allowed themselves to be influenced by polls, the election outcome would have been hugely different. They did not. They voted as they felt they ought to vote. And for all practical purposes, seem to have ignored the polls. And in the process of doing so, demonstrated for the rest of us in the Caribbean and elsewhere the unreliability of polling. Right? So, follow the examples of St. Lucia. Do what they did, and it will be for your betterment. We take a break. We come back in a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. I'm just wondering when the Gleaner will be coming out with its next Bill Johnson poll. It's about time for one now, isn't it? One is looking forward to it, to see what Mr. Bill Johnson is going to have to say. Okay, The Gleaner this morning has a story that tells us Montego Bay still dirty and reeks. Montego Bay dirty and reeks. And this is the president of the St. James Chamber of Commerce commenting on the state of the city, which is referred to as the tourism capital of Jamaica. The government and the St. James Parish Council have come under heavy criticism from the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry for what has been labeled its lackadaisical and nonchalant attitude towards the winter tourist season. You know, bear that in mind. This is the Gleaner reporting. Is this accurate reporting? It's lackadaisical. The Gleaner, the government and the parish council are being chided. The government, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the government and the St. James Parish Council have come under heavy criticism from the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry for what has been labeled its wrong pronoun, lackadaisical and nonchalant attitude towards the winter tourist season. Now, it is all right if Montego Bay stinks and is covered with garbage, while the people of Montego Bay and of St. James and Jamaicans generally have to endure it. But of course, when the winter tourist season is coming up, one expects something different. 5 days after the start of the season, Chamber President Pauline Reid has chided both entities for the shabby and depressed state of affairs in the tourism capital. Quote, "The city remains dirty and reeks with odor, while no work has been carried out by the St. James Parish Council, which has become totally indifferent and has literally abandoned the town," she told the Gleaner. That's a quotation, a direct quotation. And the quotation continues, "I am extremely disappointed that the powers that be allowed the season to start without preparing the city for the influx of tourists." Making an urgent call to have slated tourism, to have slated tourism and enhancement funds released. Miss Reid said the $21 million provided for the beautification of the old hospital, beautification of the old hospital on Hit Strip site, old hospital site on Hit Strip, and the additional 27 million earmarked for the city's preparation for the CC Cricket World Cup 2007 needs to be dispersed immediately. Yes, well, apparently preparations are being considered. Money is being allocated to clean up the place for Cricket World Cup, but they have forgotten the tourism season. She said that for the first time in the history of Jamaica, a fund such as the TEF exists to truly develop and bring the product to the standard where all Jamaica can be proud. All Jamaica can be proud when tourists come here and the place is cleaned up for them before they come, so that they see what they see is clean and decent. But as long as the tourists are not coming, it's all right. It can remain filthy. Quotation marks. But now I have to be questioning whether this is a sham or money being collected under false pretense, because it hasn't been spent looking after. And then she goes on to say lower down, again quotation marks, lack of funding should not be an excuse to achieving a clean city status. The agencies just don't have the will to move Montego Bay to the next level, she said. Well, boy, I don't know what's going on in this lady's mind. She doesn't think it is necessary to have funds in order to keep the city clean. She thinks it can be done without money. Of course, she thinks that what really is the problem is that tourists are going to come to see the city filthy, not that the people of Montego Bay are living in filthy circumstances. Isn't that strange? Is this really the view of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce? You know, we have nothing but contempt for ourselves. Right? We want Jamaica to be cleaned up. And that's what the government is doing. They're spending a lot of money or allocating a lot of funds to clean up Jamaica for Cricket World Cup. You know? But it's perfectly all right if Jamaica remains filthy while until the visitors come or are about to come. Huh? What a view we have of ourselves. Incidentally, the private sector organization of Jamaica has a new president. Mr. Zaka, what's his name? President of the Bank of Jamaica. President of the Bank of Nova Scotia, Mr. Clark, having withdrawn his presidency, Mr. Zaka has taken up the job uncontested. One wishes him well. One isn't sure precisely what it is that the Chamber of Commerce has accomplished up to now. Not the Chamber of Commerce, the private sector organization of Jamaica. One isn't sure what it has accomplished. If Mr. Zaka can lead it to accomplish something useful for this country, well, that would be worthwhile. One wishes him the best, you know. Okay, do we take the break? We come back in a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here on land. There's a story on the front page of the Gleaner about a policewoman, quite young woman, taking on 3 gunmen, taking them on. When she was done with them, one was dead and the other had fled. The others had fled. They had come to. She caught them in the process of committing a robbery. Brave woman is to be commended on the face of the story. Okay, hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, hello?
Morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
Now, I have 2 things, 2 I want to talk to you about. One, the first one is the police. 2 weeks ago, Saturday, when you have the heavy rain, I was downtown.
Uh-huh.
Right before Captain Bakery, we have the people sell, but sometimes they push out a little.
Speak up a bit for me. Speak more into the...
You have, right before Captain Bakery, at Haywood Street there, you have some people come out a little in the road. And a policeman, a blue seam policeman, tall, slim, fair. There was a guy there with some planting, and Mr. Perkins, the policeman come up, and the guy ease off of the cart, and the man turn over the man cart, and him have a hatchet in him hand. And the police
turn over the man's cart.
Turn over the man's cart with the planting.
And his cart?
Hit the man's cart that he was selling the planting on. The cart, planting was on the cart.
I thought he said a car.
No, and him turn over the cart. And when him turn over the cart, him take the hatchet and him chop it up like hell. I mean, chop it up. And the guy said, "Officer, why you do that?" And him just turn around and land him a box.
But that man ought to report to...
Report, Mr. Perkins.
Eh?
Sir, believe me, I'm a woman and I know I would be dead. You understand what I mean when I say so? Right. Now you tell me that is fair. Listen, the man is not stealing, mark you.
As far as I understand it, Tom, what he did is a criminal offense. It is malicious destruction of property. Yes.
But Mr. You know what,
and that man ought to go to the police with it and report that story.
Sir, what I am saying, if you see how it, where I was, Mr. Perkins, my heart swelled big. I tell you, I came up here and I called 119. I'm going to call them. The lady there, she said, no, he has no right. And she asked me if I took his number. You know, she was very nice and speak to me nice.
Yes.
But what I am saying, Mr. Perkins, the man looking at food. Sir, police like that, them to run out of the force. It was Tuesday night now. I went to one of these cash pot places to buy a cash pot. And a man came up in plain clothes, young guy. And he just push him underneath the place and start telling the woman what I want, number I want, whatever. So he said to her, what number the man under? She said, I don't know, but there's a a chat on the side there. You can go around there and look. Why you telling to go around there and look? What you in there for? You know who I am? And she said, when him said so, she said, you are what? The father or God? Him said, if you stay in there and argue with me, I make you lose your job. He's like, no. If you hear him say it, Mr. Perkins, me have to say, my God, up in the hole for frightened. No, you tell me. No, because he is a police.
Well, was he a policeman?
No, because he was in plain clothes.
Yes. But what makes you think he was a policeman?
If you hear him, when you come down to the station, I won't even look at. If you hear him, it's like you know what to go home and I'll take you out there now. You know, and then it will make you lose our job. No, is that my little money when me work and them draw tax out to pay people like those, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
But you mustn't don't run away with the assumption that that man was a policeman. He may not have been. He may just have been an arrogant fool.
Sir, you know, plenty of them show off. That is what killing them, you know. Show off. And you have some very decent ones.
The other case should be reported. Right?
Yes, sir. You have some very decent, nice ones that you can talk to. Right, so the other thing now, National Water Commission.
Yes.
About, little before the free line, your phone free line went off. I came home one evening because I was going to call the day, but I know I was going to wait so long and I decided to use the free line and it was off. Anyway, sir, I came home one evening from work. Where I live, you have a little walkway and you have 3 pipes there. Mr. Perkins, National Water Commission come in with them tractor. I know I don't know who. And them dig up the 3 pipe. My pipe is iron pipe laid down in the ground.
Yes.
The part of the plastic one is under the ground that comes straight up, sir. And them come in with them tractor and them dig up the pipe and burst it up that them connect my pipe with plastic pipe. You follow what I'm saying? Right. I call them.
Hold on. They dig
up the pipe to find the one that wasn't paying and then burst up my pipe. After they burst it up, they connect it back. You see, when I came in the evening, I see the amount of water all on the road. Alright? They connect it back with plastic pipe. Mark, you know, it's iron I put there and then put plastic. The other day a man drive and burst it. Now, listen to this part. I call them. I say to them, you people come and, instead of look and find the right pipe, when I dig up my own. The woman said to me, I don't think they would. I said, no, I don't hold any bill, no. Apart from the bill that I get, and it's not supposed to, and until I date when it must pay. She said to me, I don't believe that because I didn't get a report. I said, tell me something, ma'am. Are they going to report what they do out there? Things like this? Well, would get a report. I said, all right. I put down my clothes and I go down there. When I go in, the lady that is in charge, the manager, boss, or whoever, she's God because you can't talk to her. You cannot see her without an appointment. I said, what? You cannot see her. I said, all right. Them send me into a lady and I talk to her. Right before I sit down there and she call a man and say, he must go and they must fix back the pipe. Until now, me have to get somebody else. Me have to get somebody to fix it, Mr. Perkins, because them come. Because them burst it already, you know, sir. Me means somebody drive on it and burst it. So if me leave it there, it would burst. No, when she telling me if me never hold water, them wouldn't dig out my pipe. That's what she said to me. I went and looked for my water rate. I says, lady, I wouldn't even bother and say, hold on a little bit. See where And when I looked for my bill, and I call out the number, and I said to her, look on your computer. And all she had to say, I will investigate it until now. No, sir. Them chew in how much time I pass and see water. Flow in. One burst right round beside courts there. And me say it was there for months. And nobody no go turn off that. And if you hold them for 1 month, them come and ring out your thing. Now talk to me and tell me what is going on.
Yes, well, I really can't see how the Water Commission could possibly have a power to destroy your pipe.
Thank you.
Because you owe, even if you owe them money, they have no right to destroy your pipe.
And it's a tractor, you know, Mr.
That again falls into the same category of the, I should imagine that the mashing up the man's car.
Mr. Perkins, let me tell you something.
But the thing is this, that all this is telling you, Mum, that the problem doesn't begin with that police constable, you know. That is where it begins. What we have is a country in which, at the very highest level, there is no respect for the ordinary citizen of this land. Right? If the government respected the people of this country, then it would put in force systems to prevent that kind of thing happening.
Sir, it is not
and to effect
fair.
remedies when they do happen. How are you going to, let me tell you something. How are you going to, what do you do if the Water Commission sends a man with a truck excavator to come and mash up your pipe?
Thank you, please.
What do you do?
And him dig out my one, sir,
yes.
and leave it cock up in the air.
Put it in the courts.
Will fix it, think it
Put
back.
it in the courts. And how many years from now will it come to trial?
That is it, sir.
Right? And how much is it going to cost you? And how much are you going to get? Right?
Well, I don't know, you know, Mr. Perkins. I don't know, but I can understand them. The water run waste, and you call them until you're tired. And they're not coming to fix that. And you hold them for a month, them come and dig it out.
Yes, well.
You understand? But me try my best
I don't
to hold
think
them,
they're supposed to do
because
that.
if them come and tell me, Mr. Perkins, you know, sometimes when you look at, you can't see, when you go down there to see the woman in charge, the manager, the boss, whatever she be, you can't talk to her. And you have the people outside the way you talk to them, they're not doing nothing, you know, them call and say so and so, go and fix it. They just pass. You understand, sir?
Yeah.
But they know if you come cut it off. That is not fair, Mr. Perkins.
No, it isn't fair. It is, not only is it not fair, Mom, it isn't, I don't think it's lawful. Right?
But sir, with the policeman there on the planting, me I tell you no, Mr. Perkins, me as a woman, and if it was me selling, me know me that stone cold from Mr. Madden icebox. Because me would have never take it out. Believe me, I tell you, Mr. Perkins, I was so mad. Sir, Mr. Dunn, if you throw him a traffic, you know, Mr. Perkins, you'd have thought something different. He could have hardly turned over the catering in the rain, in the dirty water. Right? So if you're fling up him, Mr. Perkins, me as a woman.
No respect for people.
If it was there for me, sir, me know say, it's a funeral in there for the Christmas. You can't have to choose me. Thank you very much here, sir.
Don't use such words, you know, it's
Mr. Perkins,
careful.
if it was a man,
Don't think that way.
Mr. Perkins, if it was a man, then they're doing something until lie on him. Right? If the man did retaliate there.
Yes.
Right? But what I am saying is how him do it, and on top of that, him box the youth.
Yeah.
You see, sir? I don't know, Mr. Perkins.
Well,
this not right.
when they finish doing things like that, Mom, they wonder why it is that we have so much crime in the country.
Well, Mr. Perkins, it can't stop when you have people like those, you know, sir. It cannot stop. And it is not fair.
I heard Dr. Carolyn Gomes on a program this morning saying that the police had killed 220-odd persons in the course of this year.
All right. Sir, I don't know. In everything you do, you get past your step. Because right now, if him they go thief, Mr. Perkins, right? And police hold him. That's why the courthouse, you can't pay the lawyer fee because the amount of billion that's enough to send up your blood pressure and kill you. Right? And you're trying an honest thing, you're doing something to help yourself. And police come and do that. Mr. Perkins.
But you may be going about it in an unlawful way. And the police have a duty to do something about it. But at
the same time, I agree with that, sir.
That does not mean that they need to destroy the man's property.
Right, I agree with it. But you see what happened? The guy, he was, because when they see the police coming, you know, they start to run. When they see that one, the rest them, you know. But when them see that one, them tall and slim and fear. When them see them start to run, some say with the people, but it wasn't all that much out into the road, you know. Right? But through the amount of crowd round here, the guy couldn't get to push it back that far because the people was behind him. And Mr. Perkins, me I tell him, work him hand pan the man can't really clutch it, you see, sir. Anyway, sir, thank you for listening.
Very unfair.
Very much so, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for listening
All right.
to me.
Thank you very
enjoy
much.
your day.
Okay, we take a break. We come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning to you, Mom.
Compliments for the season.
Oh, and the very same to you.
Thank you. Yesterday I called you.
Yeah.
I am the person who called about the luggages. The luggages at the airport.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Oh, you got through?
Yes.
Oh, well, you probably would have anyhow.
I would have probably, but when? Because when you called, they got in touch with me right away.
Uh-huh.
Before I called you, I called them.
Uh-huh.
And that was about the fourth time. And they couldn't give me an answer.
Uh-huh.
But after you called, they called me and said they are on their way.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
And they came with it?
They came with it about 7 o'clock because while they were on their way delivering, they told me they have mine and they will reach me at a late time because they are going miles and miles to deliver.
Uh-huh.
So, thanks very much.
Well, I hope that you will have a good Christmas.
Yes, thanks.
All right?
A better one.
A better one.
Yes.
All right. All the best to you.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Hello?
Yes, morning.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perkins, Jamaica biggest problem is only bad man survive, or the bad people them survive.
Only the bad people survive.
Then you see in the parliament, so parliament a preach badness, you know. You never see that in the parliament, you know, watch it.
No? What happened?
Yeah, you know what I mean? You see the man of parliament that tell you, say you better get that.
Get
bad man talk that, you know.
You better get what?
You never hear the man of parliament that talk with you.
Uh-huh.
I say you better understand that.
Uh-huh.
A bad man talk, a bad man talk, you know.
Well, maybe that's how bad man talk, but it doesn't necessarily mean that
no,
when you
man,
say that
but
you're a
it's
bad
a
man.
preach from parliament, and if you surrender, you don't have no justice again. You have to take it. And the police are tell you straight, say, judge not believe you, because you're only a criminal. So them do as you don't want to say, chop up the man cat.
The police tell you that the judge now going to believe you?
Straight and plain, they're not free to tell you that. Because you're only a criminal.
Oh, yeah?
You don't tell say, chop up the man cat. If I did my cat, you have to chop up me too.
He would have to chop you up.
I'm certain. So the system can't change until you get some people who respect people. And from the government come right down, there's no respect for the people.
Yes, but what is happening is that the people are prepared to tolerate governments that show no respect for them.
Yes, but every time somebody get up and try to do something or defend themselves, them say, you're a bad man, or you're this. But with no respect not for the people, Mr. Perkins. The policeman tell you...
No, but there are ways and ways of doing it, you know, sir.
Yes.
Hold on. You are saying that if that policeman did that to you, right, then he would have to kill you too.
Yes.
Right?
No, I'm not about that.
But
because I'm war with our friend.
Suppose we as a people could take the view that we are not prepared to tolerate that kind of thing happening to anybody in our society.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we do not want in place a government that is going to allow the police to behave in that way.
Yeah.
Right? A government that is going to what we want is a government that is going to ensure that the police do what they are there to do and do it in a manner that is humane and respectful of the rights of citizens. Right? And that wherever the police break that rule, they're going to pay serious consequences.
Yes.
Now look at what is happening. This case that is being talked about now, the Janice Allen case. And we've been talking about that case for God knows how long.
Yes.
Right? This happened, what is it, about 6 years? More than that, man.
I think at 2002.
It's about 6 years at least. Now look here. Look at what is supposed to have happened in that case.
Yeah.
The police shot the girl.
Yeah.
Right? Shot her in her back.
Yeah.
How they claimed to have been having some fight with gunmen. Right? How they could have mistaken her for a gunman in broad daylight, God alone knows.
But, Mr. Perkins.
Right? But hold on. They shot her. Right?
Yeah.
And she was there lying down on the ground.
Yeah.
For more than half an hour.
Yes.
The police refusing to take her to the hospital.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is now being suggested
that had she been taken immediately to the hospital, her life might have been saved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they didn't give a damn about her.
Good.
Right? Them not putting her in a them car for take her go. The car, the financing of which the taxes paid by her mother.
Yes.
Right? Would have contributed to.
Yeah.
In some sense. Right?
Yeah.
But they don't care.
No.
Right? And then at the end of all of that,
yeah,
and a lot of crookery, right?
Yeah.
The man walks free.
Good.
Right?
So
the girl is dead and the man gone free.
All right, Mr. Perkins. look, take them two quick pointer.
Yes.
The police tell you, sir, the judge, now I believe you. Look for the madman up in the Olympic Garden, where them beat and kill. You remember who I talk?
Olympic Gardens.
Well, when vomit him feces, man.
Oh, you mean, you're talking about Michael Gill?
Good. And the police, nothing come out there because them don't believe the madman.
No.
Jenny's Allen dead, the judge believe the policeman. So when the police...
No.
Eh?
No, that's not what happened, in fairness. Right?
Yeah.
What happened was that the judge was told by the prosecutor from the DPP's office that he did not have a case against the man.
Yeah.
Right? Because the policeman who had investigated the matter was abroad and was not coming back to Jamaica.
Good.
Right?
And that's fine out it was a lie.
Well, it was not true. I don't know whether it was a lie on the part of the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Right? He is supposed to have been told this by somebody in the police force.
Yeah.
Right? Now, whether he investigated the matter as he should, I do not know.
Yeah.
But he went and told that to the court. Right?
Yeah.
The court accepted it. A jury was summoned. Well, the jury was summoned before the court was told this. And the jury was instructed to arrive at a verdict of not guilty.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Now, let me tell you something. When you come back down to all the way I go around here, Mr. Perkins, come back to one thing. One thing. The government, the judge, him go and believe where the police say. And that is final.
Well,
him not believe what you say is right for you. You not get no right, because that not there for you.
That you believe that?
Yes, none of me believe, whole but people believe. You understand? You not have no right to get anything the police do them right. And the police tell you that all the while they're afraid to tell you. And they're afraid to tell you so they will turn in a duppy. Because 2 days talk and it's done. They're not afraid, they're not going to call them.
Them tell you that?
Of course.
The 2 days talk and it's done?
And it's done. Not more. And it's exactly what take place. Them tell you that them run things. You understand? And the politicians need them to make them win elections so them can't squeeze them out. You understand?
But surely Sister P, surely Sister P, who loves the poor, is doing something about this?
Mr. Perkins, me can't tell you I love the poor too, you know.
You can tell me that?
Yeah, no, can't tell you I love the poor too.
But if you
tell me, love them.
If you tell me so, wouldn't it be true? If you told me so.
Right, not cheap, man. Can't say anything. We can't say anything, you know, because we're cheap.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll follow you.
And another thing, Mr. Perkins, you see this law with them having as a country named libel law, where the whole of the criminal them hide behind, the robber them, the thief them, libel law, we forget rid of it.
Is only big man bring libel case, you know?
Good. Well, them is not criminal, you know. Them are the thief. You understand? And them hide behind that law. There's several things we know for you, Mr. Perkins. Several things. Because I know you're not a fool, you know. But documental proof, you don't really have it. But we know for you. You understand? And Mr. Perkins, if never the robbery go on in this country, my country that better by far. The robbery. And it's too somebody mash up this country, you know. Too somebody alone. You know who mash up Jamaica?
Who? No, I don't know.
The politician and the police. and them two people that mash up Jamaica. You know what me tell you? Me have some head of problem with them with me and them in Mr. Perkins, because you see all the water, you don't get no water.
Hold on, sir. The politician can mash up the country because he have power.
Yes.
Who gave him the power?
The people.
The people.
Yeah.
They know the people mash up, the people give him the power.
Yeah.
And them take the power and mash up the country. And the people them not do nothing about it.
But
so is who for fault?
The people, but how much are the people, Mr. Perkins?
I follow you.
How much are the people that have that sense?
Then you know one of the people too.
Yes. Mr. Perkins, let me tell you something, man. Me is a man when me not afraid of nobody, you know. Let me tell you that. Me not afraid of nobody. Me not know nobody was dead 2 times. You understand?
Yes.
Me not afraid of nobody. And let me tell you something, man. Bob Marley tell you to get up and stand up and fight for your rights. But too much people willing. How much people willing?
You must what?
How much people willing to get up and stand up?
That is the problem.
And Mr. Perkins, me tell you every day, you know, any day them put in my way, and them do me things where me feel say it reach a point where shouldn't happen, I'll be going, but I will be leaving history behind. You know what I tell you? I will be going, but I will be leaving history behind. You understand?
But wouldn't it be better to try and get it, to organize something now, where you convince other people around you that they ought to stand up?
No, go right, Mr. Perkins. I hear a joke here. You see one little gravy right on the man mouth is hungry? You can't tell him nothing.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's talk show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award, on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
This is a Perkins. A hungry man. When you wipe little gravy in mouth, you never forgive him meat, you know, to control him.
Yes, sir, but it must use... No. Him can use him brain. And no, sir, when you wipe little gravy in mouth, right? He might go hungry again 2 hours, 3 hours time.
How much people know that, Mr. Perkins? No, right? People don't know that, you know.
What?
No, people don't look pan today.
No, man, you must find... Well, they must know it, man, and they must learn to do something.
Yes, sir.
To see to it that their lives are better organized.
He don't know, sir. If him turn up on the right hand, Papa, we are not gravy alone, him get meat too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get vegetable with it too.
Right, indeed.
You understand?
Okay.
But the man we're hungry and I get little gravy wipe on him mouth. You can't tell him nothing. You go one little gravy come the daytime.
Well,
and him quiet
in that event, sir, he must just have to put up with what him get.
All right. I hear a man talk on the radio where them say him come from an African country. My some man in the Royal Bank there. I don't remember the permanent program Sunday evening.
Yes.
And the man said, why is your country talk about there all the while ago? Singapore and must say Morocco, somewhere about the 2 other countries.
Not Morocco.
There about 3 countries, one black man, man. Them come from Trinidad, one of them country them come from. But he must some president or secretary or something at Royal Bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a good friend the program Sunday evening. You know who I talk?
Sunday evening?
Yeah, man, you're a good friend program, you come Sunday evening time, man. You're a church man, man. Brian?
Oh, God, Brian.
Yeah, man. You're a boy, man. You're a boy, Mutty, man. You're a boy in the pan. And the man say, Singapore, why it get where it get, and we got it a two country man name. Him say the people, the government, them listen to the people and them work together. And that's why them there today.
Yes.
And him said no.
South Korea, I think he must have been talking.
Huh?
He must have been talking about South Korea too.
Yes. And Singapore, one of the country name. Him said them listen to the government, listen to the people, and just the people them are smart like themselves. And them work together.
Yes.
And that put them in a position with them there.
Yes.
And him said without the Caribbean and the rest of African country, them don't listen to the people, them respect and work together, we will stay in a position where they
absolutely
as long as life lasts. You understand?
Absolutely, sir.
Mr. Perkins,
totally right.
I can't find your program and tell about some stagnant water and sewer water all over the place where I see more one time. And see it now, malaria the power now. And millions of dollars fine to deal with it. Which way if we did deal with it, we wouldn't have malaria. No?
Yes, indeed.
Good, but millions of dollars come from we know all you can hear.
Wait a little bit.
50 million.
Wait a little bit.
Million.
Let's soon find money to clear up the garbage with the leptospirosis upon them.
You understand?
All right.
So, we not do nothing till when something happens.
Yes, indeed.
And the little man's voice can't go nowhere.
Hey, all right.
You understand?
But you see the parish council, the Chamber of Commerce in Montego Bay.
Yeah.
Deploring the fact that the city is in a mess.
Good.
And the tourists that come now.
Yeah.
Right? Them don't mind it. Well, on the face of it, them don't seem to mind if it's so Jamaica people as in a mess.
Yeah.
But when the tourists come see it, well, that bother them.
Yeah. Me a man for that program, the program named Direct last night, I tell a man, say, like we can publish everything. So we hide them.
Yes.
And that me and the man from Direct, I tell a man last night, I remember my Bruce Battle who.
I see.
Like we can publish every time the Bruce asking how long we hide them.
I'll follow you.
You understand? And, Mr. Perkins, you see the hill? The hill wants something to happen.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
The people of Jamaica just don't understand themselves, and that creates a big problem.
That is the problem, sir.
Them don't understand.
True.
Them don't know what them want.
All right, I have to go.
You understand?
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay, hello?
Good morning, Mr. Perkins.
Morning, sir.
How you doing?
Not too bad.
Listen to me, I hear your man Ralston taking on again this morning.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
You mean, who is Ralston?
You have a difficulty in understanding empirical evidence.
Who is Ralston?
Ralston Greenspan.
Greenspan?
Greenspan.
Oh, yes.
Listen.
What did he say?
You have a difficulty with understanding empirical evidence.
Empirical evidence?
Yes.
Empirical?
Yeah. Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
You know, if you do not know where you're going, any road will take you there, you know.
Yes.
And for a long time in this country, we have lost our way for the better part of 30-odd years.
Yes.
You keep talking about Singapore.
Yes.
Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore became independent in 1965.
Yes. Was it?
Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes. It's separated from Malaysia.
Yeah, Lee Kuan Yew used as his blueprint the economic theories that Sir Arthur Lewis espoused for development in the third world. That was the blueprint that he used. And he came to Jamaica and saw Bob Lightburn implementing some of those theories.
Yes.
He was impressed. And he went back to Singapore, and that is how he got his economy going in the direction that it did. He knew what direction he wanted to take his country and his people.
Yes.
And he made the investment. And, you know, history now will tell you where they are.
Yes.
So, in our case, I don't know if anybody knows where they want to go or where they want to take us.
Oh, then...
I mean, look at China.
They know where they want to go.
China and India, two of the most prominent developing economies right now. Every single major manufacturer is manufacturing in China today. GM.
That is quite true.
Boeing. Intel. Ford. Mercedes. Dell Computers. IBM. General Electric. They're all manufacturing in China.
Yes.
India started at the low end of the information technology industry. They're now at the very high end.
Yes.
Bill Gates and Microsoft is investing billions of dollars in India to develop their education system because he sees it as enlightened self-interest.
Yes.
So where is this takeoff in Jamaica going to come from?
God alone knows.
You know, China has a mix of agriculture, services, and manufacturing. They're trying to pull the rural areas into the development streak. Where's Jamaica going? Where's this takeoff that everybody is so busy predicting?
Well, ask Mr. Greenspan.
You know,
Dr. Greenspan.
The other thing, you know, I heard it this morning comparing. Well, you're talking about the results in St. Lucia. There's no comparison between the electorate in St. Lucia and Jamaica. You know, the Jamaican electorate. You know, the average man wants to eat a food, so his vote becomes very cheap. You know, a white rum, some curry goat, and some white rice will still get you into government. It's as simple as that.
Yes, well, the polls tell too. I mean, if the polls tell him that, you know, such and such a party is going to win.
Yes.
Then he will want to favor that party because he doesn't want his constituency to be represented by somebody from the other party.
More than likely, yes.
Right.
More than likely. Well, you know, the irony about St. Lucia, you know, a very prominent Jamaican in a fundraising dinner down there, you know, use Jamaica as an example in the direction not to go. Don't go there because he pointed out the corruption, the incompetence, the failure, and the crime. Now, St. Lucia, I think, has 35 murders for the year.
Yes.
And that was very alarming.
They're very upset because they're saying that, I mean, boy, this is terrible. I mean, 35 murders for the year.
Yeah, the people are very upset, you know. And he pointed out that the government at the time was going in the same direction as the Jamaican government.
Yes.
Don't give them a third term. History is where, you know, we are where we are.
Well, all right, sir.
But that's life, Mr. Perkins. Listen, if I don't talk to you again, have a good one.
Thank you very much. All the best to you too. Hello? 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 What's going on behind there? I hear background sounds. But
hello?
Yes.
Good morning.
I thought you had gone to sleep.
No.
No. Morning. How are you?
I'm not good.
Why?
I came in on a flight from Canada on Tuesday evening. It was flight 78. I had 6 suitcases. I got 2. The other 4 is my personal items. Until now, I haven't got 1. I called Air Jamaica. They tell me that they don't know when the bag is gonna get here, maybe on the 23rd.
Oh my God.
I came here for a funeral, and the funeral is the 23rd. So I just want them to hear and to update us on when we're gonna get the baggage.
But this was what? American Airlines?
It was Air Jamaica.
Air Jamaica?
Yes, from Canada on Tuesday.
Air Jamaica?
Yes.
Well, somebody is going to say that I'm stupid, you know, because when somebody calls and tells me about baggage not missing, and you know the airline can't tell you when, I should know from that it's Air Jamaica.
Yes. Yes. And we could go to Air Canada, but we choose to support Air Jamaica.
You support? Well, sorry. Next time you're coming, I take it that you will be supporting Air Jamaica.
No, I won't be.
Why?
No. What sense it makes? I get here, I have nothing to put on, I have places to go. I call them, the lady gonna tell me, lady, it's Christmas. I know it's Christmas, that's why I'm here. She gonna tell me it's Christmas, that's how it is at Christmas. Or whenever you go to pay the fare, let them tell us that bring clothes to wear in your hand luggage then, because you won't be getting your baggage.
Yes.
So I don't know what to do now. I came here for the funeral. The funeral is Saturday. I can't go. And the thing about it, they're not telling us anything. They don't put it over the public address system. We don't know. We just sit here waiting. Waiting on what we don't know and when.
Well, Mom.
They need to do better if they're going to get out of the sky again.
Well, they are already in a hell of a lot of trouble.
I know.
You know.
I know.
And when people start abandoning them because of the way they are treated when they fly Air Jamaica, right? You are supporting Air Jamaica.
I know.
Because it is the national airline.
And it's my country.
And they don't give two damns about you.
They give nothing. They're going to tell me, oh, lady, it's Christmas. I know it's Christmas. That's why I came home.
Yes. All right, Mom.
So...
Hold on just a moment.
Okay.
Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. I would like to know why you don't try to get Mrs. Simpson on your program, because there's a lot of questions I would like to hear you answer, you know.
Mrs. Simpson Miller?
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't tried recently, but, well, I don't know. I'll give it a shot.
Yes, because there's a lot that you need to say to the country, because I don't understand what direction she's taking, and when I work outside of Jamaica, whenever I have to come back to Jamaica, my heart leapt. Because the hopelessness and the people using begging as a profession now, you know, because every side you want...
Well, that's been going on for a little while.
You know, and it's heartbreaking, you know.
Yes.
And we have this guy, Mark Shields. Is he paid to do a job or to be public relations for the
Well, public relations is a job too.
Yes. But all he's talking about...
You think he's a good public relations man?
I think you do a better job there.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I think he's excellent as a...
Because I haven't seen where... Because if you're going to tell me 20% crime is down, now we can't feel it.
You notice he never pauses for a word.
No, very much.
He's so fluent.
Yes. Well, one of the things, Mr. Perkins, that I understood about the economy and running a country, because I've seen more than 60 countries around the world. If government cannot provide jobs and have a good social system in place, you cannot get crime down.
Well, that is quite true.
And in doing so, we need to see greater respect and...
And not only that, in addition to that, sir, if people believe that justice is not available to them, right?
Yes.
Then they take things into their own hands.
Very much so.
Right? Look at that this morning we heard from that lady about a police station destroying a man's push car.
That was the thing, yes?
Yes. From the look of things, I don't know if they've reported it to the police, and I don't know what is going to happen if they do, right? Look at what is happening with the Johnny Allen case.
Well, I'm going to give a private example. My wife was coming to the airport once, and the immigration officer was, after she finished digging up her bag, she was looking for money.
Uh-huh.
And my wife gave her $50 US. I said, that's all you're giving me?
50 what?
$50 US. And she said, that's all you're giving me?
What was that? What was this woman?
The immigration officer, the custom officer.
Uh-huh.
After she finished digging up the bag, searching, you know, because they have to do their search.
Uh-huh.
She's looking for money, and when my wife gave her 50, she's saying, this is all you can give me?
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Is that so?
Very much so. This is something that I know of.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things, Mr. Perkins, the hopelessness is here, but I believe if Jamaicans can respect themselves, because the thing is, you know, you have a lot of people who believe that better can come and should come,
yes.
But at the same time, they hold on to the notion that I am a born labourite, I'm a born PNP.
Uh-huh.
Now, I see myself as a Jamaican.
Yes.
Politics come behind. Now, some people, they're not intelligent enough to reason things through, and have listened to you try to educate them, but they just go to one ear and come through the other. And it won't get better until the mentality is changed.
Yes, sir. I don't know. I don't know whether there's any hope for this country.
It's very sad, sir. I've seen a lot, and it's very, very sad. Because when I come to Jamaica, I travel all over the country. And I have my ears down to the ground, and I've seen and I've heard, and it pains my heart. Okay. Okay, Mr. P, have a nice day, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Same to you too. Hello? Okay, we have allotted spaces on our lines. So if you've been trying to call for a long time, can't get through to us, call now. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes?
Yeah, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, good morning to you.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Good morning, sir. I have a few things I'd like to speak about. I'll make them quick anyway.
I'm not hearing you very clearly.
Yes, sir. I'm saying I have a few things I'd like to speak to you about.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to begin with this government. Yeah, you know, growing up in the country, I used to listen to songs that they have.
Yes.
Joshua Gone Clear. We Heavy. My Leader Barnia. And I tell you, those things used to get me going, man. But, you know, it's only when you become a grown-up as a young man, I come to realize that this party is just a party of charms. They have no foundation, no plan. They just charm the people. And I'll tell you, I'm so sick of this government now. I think it's time for them to...
But the people allow themselves to be farmed also. Isn't that so?
Yes, that's true. That's true. And you know one of the things, Mr. Perkins...
What does it matter if my leader Barnia, right? What I want from my leader is good leadership.
Oh, yes.
And I don't give two damns where he's born.
That's true, sir.
As a matter of fact, you know, while they were singing that, the opposing leader, Eddie Siaga, was born in the United States and was entitled to United States citizenship. Right?
Yes.
He gave it up to be a Jamaican.
Yes, sir. Yes,
in a country where if the United States Embassy were ever to announce that they were giving away, not even permanent visas, right? Residential visas. That you could get them, just go up to the embassy and line up. And the first 10,000 would get residential visas. I don't think it would be possible for anybody to get in or out of Bamboo Avenue.
That's true. But you know,
possibly the whole of Hope Road will be blocked.
You know, yes, that's true, sir. But
this man gives up. This man gives up American citizenship to be a Jamaican, and people sing My Leader Barnia.
Yes,
and that is taken seriously.
But you know, this government, this present leader here, I think part of her problem is that she's under the same type of influence. She doesn't have a policy. She doesn't come from a party with a policy, and so she's just trying to charm the people. Now it's time for the Jamaican people to realize that, Mr. Perkins, we cannot cope with that any longer. And that is the difference between the JLP. And it's only that when I grew up I realized that. That the difference between the JLP is a party of policy. The thing with Mr. Siaga is a matter of rules and regulation. No, this party has caused the Jamaican people to live as though a charm life. A life that they can sit and do nothing and get something. Because what? The leaders of this party have no aim and have no love for the people.
But hold on, sir. The people are sitting and doing nothing. What are they getting?
Well, they wait until the handout comes around, sir.
I don't know about that.
You know me, I remember, I think it was sometime, I think it was in St. Anne's, there was a by-election there. And I remember hearing a young lady saying that she's PMP and they were interviewing her. She said something like, it's from the womb to the tomb. Now, Mr. Perkins, when you have young people thinking like that, you know, you see where the country's going.
They're not thinking, they're not really thinking, are they?
Well, that's also it. But you know, Mr. Perkins, there's an serious problem in this country that many people is not thinking about, you know. I have a nephew who works with the port security corp in Jamaica here. And they are telling me something that is shocking, Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
You know of the port security corp?
The port security
corp. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They are telling me that my nephew is telling me that he's working there for little and nothing. They have this Merck shipping line now.
They did what?
That's the port security. I think it's the APM terminal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it have a Merck shipping line who is in control down there, I think.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Perkins, they are telling me that as security, they are down there bursting some box of those Zim and Merck. But sometimes those vessels carry over 500 boxes. And they are bursting them, each one of them empty. They have to burst them. Now, Mr. Perkins, they work. I think it's a fortnight they get paid, and at the end of the fortnight they don't go home with $10,000, Mr. Perkins. Now, I'm understanding that the government of this country is not even subsidizing the budget for the PFC. So they have to leave off the loan that the APM and the airport authority give to them. Now, Mr. Perkins, in a time when port security is so important to this country, talk about terrorism, 9/11, and you are saying to me that this country, Jamaica, have no proper security for the harbors of this country, the seaport or the airport? No, I think there's a World Cup coming here next year, and the port is not safe, Mr. Perkins, because the officers are grumbling over their small payment.
Yes, sir. Well, I hope that we don't have any serious consequences flowing
but
from
even serious than that, I'm hearing he's saying to me that he's planning to leave next year.
Yes.
And there are some offers.
Yes, indeed. All right, I have to go now. Sorry about that, eh? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Wait. Hold on a little bit. Talk again, let me hear you.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins.
Who's that speaking? I haven't heard that voice now for about 5 years.
Not so long.
Why have you treated me like that?
Mr. Perkins, I haven't treated you any way.
Eh?
I haven't treated you out
Yes,
of the way.
you have.
Have I?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, my gosh.
But this is indeed Yvonne Sobers with you.
Why you treat me like that?
Well, Mr. Perkins, you see what is happening around you.
Yes.
You see that, sometimes you may wonder whether you need to be trying some other strategy, because it's like you talk, and then what?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So you could as well shut up and see.
Sometimes you begin to wonder.
But I don't think things have improved.
No, so you could as well.
In the 5 years that you haven't spoken to us. I think they've been tending to get worse than anything.
Yes, because you will have noticed that in both the Patrick Genius, and the Janice Allen cases.
Yes.
There is, to me, a message that has been sent.
Yes.
And it is a message of impunity. In other words, it's a message that says that the police can pretty much do what they want to do without being answerable to the public.
Yes.
And for me, that is extremely serious. Because what I'm seeing is that there is a link between policing and democracy, and therefore persons like Patrick Gideon's mother and Janice Allen's mother do have some rights that need to be respected, at least shown. It needs to be shown that persons, all citizens, can have a voice when they feel that their rights have been infringed.
Yes.
And to me, this is really where we are facing.
But I tell you something, Mom. That the Patrick Genius case is bad.
Yes.
Bad in a lot of ways. I had Mr. Small on this program. talking about it, and talking about the fact that the very police that did the shooting were the ones who did the investigation.
Well,
they took up the gun and, or if there was a gun taken up, right? But 24 hours after the shooting, they handed over a gun to the forensic experts, which they said was taken from the scene of the shooting.
Right.
Right?
No, I mean, justice should say that if the police have perpetrated an act at a particular point, then the first persons to search or survey the area ought to be investigators.
Yes.
And not the same police.
Not the same police that did the shooting.
That did the shooting. But I will tell you that invariably it's the same police who did the shooting. Well, really.
That begins the investigation.
Yes, because they're right on the scene.
Yes.
They remove, in many instances that have come to court, they are the ones who remove spent shells. There are instances where they are the ones who have attempted to remove blood stains.
But not only that.
Yes.
We know of a case, don't we, in which there was evidence given that they sent some miles away.
That's right.
To get a gun.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Which was then deposited on the scene of the crime.
Precisely. So, I mean, this is what, and certainly there are opportunities for all kinds of contamination.
And that evidence, as it happened, was given by a policeman.
Yes. 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 So, I mean, there are opportunities. In the first, let us say, 8 hours, 10 hours, sometimes even longer before the police investigators get there. And of course, when the police investigators do come, usually their first visit, even before going to the scene, is to the police station from which these policemen came.
Yes.
So they get their briefing there. So even let us say that there is a great deal of opportunity for the police perpetrators to influence the direction of the investigation.
Yes.
Now, once the direction of the investigation has been influenced, then what comes to court is contaminated.
Yes.
So that a jury has really contaminated evidence to go by.
Yes.
And so the kinds of outcomes that we get are predictable.
But one does not hear. I mean, I don't know if this is a matter of inadequate reporting.
Yes.
But one has not heard of judges saying that there is something wrong with this.
Well, that no is where I would have a problem with the system, because I have no doubt that the judges and the prosecutors are aware that the evidence that comes to them in court is not necessarily reliable. I mean, they certainly must know this process better than you and I. But as you say, we certainly have not heard from them that this is an issue, this is how we need to correct it, because justice is not being done. And if we have these problems in police cases where police are the killers of persons, I don't think that the investigation is vastly improved where it is civilians.
Yes.
So one may also see that there is impunity not only for the police, but for other wrongdoers as well.
Yes. But you know, the horror of the Janice Allen case.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Although I've heard it argued that there is a technical problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In that the Supreme Court, the provision for judicial review involves the Supreme Court reviewing the actions of a lower court.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I don't know. I haven't seen the judgments yet, but it may be that is an issue that was taken up. Although one wonders whether the problem of a court reviewing the judicial court, a Supreme Court, reviewing another Supreme Court, a court of equal jurisdiction.
Yes.
If that is a problem, then what about the problem of the flagrant injustice that is involved? How do we correct that? How do we deal with it? Right? Because it has emerged, it's plainly emerged that the court was misinformed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the action that was taken was taken on the basis of misinformation.
Quite.
Right?
Quite.
So what do we do about that? And what is going to prevent some other policeman shooting somebody and the firearms registry appearing in court with pages torn out of it and subsequently is burnt in a fire, and then the court is given this information and the jury is instructed to arrive at a verdict of not guilty? What is going to prevent that happening?
Right, because you see, part of the problem, and there may, of course, as you say, be proper reasons, technical reasons why the judgment would have to be made in the way in which it was made.
Yes.
And I can't quarrel with that. But what I would say is that rulings such as Patrick Genius or Janice Allen, what they do is to endorse the actions of any police with homicidal tendencies.
Yes.
In other words, you know reasonably that you are going to get away with it.
Yes.
This is what the data show. We have, for instance, from 1999 until now, let us say from the Patrick Genius killing until now, roughly 1,000 persons have been killed by the police.
Is that so?
In all of that number, one police has been convicted. And this was in February of this year.
What was this case about?
That was the case of a man,
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. I think perhaps we have made certain assumptions about the system that we have and what the system is supposed to do.
Yes.
I believe that we have made assumptions that the system is supposed to protect the rights of all.
Yes.
And that clearly is not so. Certainly not so in the experience that I have had.
Yes.
The system seems designed to control. To control certain elements. And I know that we have spoken of this because this is really what the policing system was originally intended to do when it was set up just after the Morant Bay Rebellion.
Yes, it's dab on ruling niggers.
That's right. And there is nothing that has happened so far to change it.
Yes.
So what we have, therefore, is still a plantation-style system of policing.
No. It doesn't stop there.
Yes.
It's a plantation system of government.
Of government. Because this is the point that policing is an integral part of government.
Yes, and it is the government that ultimately determines what the police are free to do and not free to do.
Exactly.
As things are at the moment.
And this is the kind of link that perhaps we don't always make sufficiently.
Yes.
The link between policing and the kind of democracy that even can be practiced.
The police force the police are agents of the government.
They are.
Yes.
They are. And so, therefore, if they're agents of the government, it means that they're essentially answerable to the government.
And the government is to be held responsible for what the police do and don't do.
Right. Whereas the police really ought to be answerable to the people.
Yes.
The people whose taxes pay them. The people whose taxes buy the guns and the ammunition. And the people who, through their government, give the police unusual authority. Because the police is the only agency with the authority to use force against citizens.
Well, you know, Mrs. Sobers, one of the things that we need to recognize, is that all of these problems are related to the issue of the Constitution.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We have, for example, a system where the Prime Minister... Now, it is acknowledged that what we have is a tribalistic politics. Right? We have a system in which it is the Prime Minister that determines who is the Director of Public Prosecutions, right? And having determined the Director of Public Prosecutions, of course, he is answerable to nobody. But the Prime Minister decides who is to be DPP. The Prime Minister decides who is to be Chief Justice, who is to be President of the Court of Appeal, who is to be a member of the Judicial Services Commission. Am I right?
Yes.
I mean, after consultation, of course, with the leader of the opposition. But what does that mean in practical terms? Right? So if we were to have a corrupt Prime Minister, right? A Prime Minister who is concerned more about the fortunes of his party than about the availability of justice and opportunity to the people. Then we could have corruption in all these places, couldn't we? Right? Why don't we go for a system, having experienced the so-called Westminster system and its failure to work adequately in this country? Why don't we go for a separation of powers where these appointments would be made differently? Right? First of all, you wouldn't have just one man picking up somebody and said, okay, you be DPP or you be Chief Justice. Right? You would have a system in which these appointments would be made under a public process.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Where, I mean, if this person is nominated, then you could raise questions about the fitness of that person. Right? Before a committee of Parliament. A Parliament which would be differently constructed. Right? Because it would be separately, I mean, you vote for whomever you want to be president. And you vote for somebody not to represent the party, but to represent you.
Quite.
Right?
Quite. Because the problem really is, whether we're talking policing, whether we're talking health, housing, environment, the problem really is whether the people are represented or not.
Yes.
And you may know that there was a country, colony then, that went to war on no taxation without representation.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, are the people represented anywhere at all?
No, the people are not represented. That's because the persons who are in Parliament are there to represent their party.
Yes.
Not their country, not their constituents.
But then, Mr. Perkins, we the people, every 5 years or so, go right ahead and vote for the continuity of the system.
Yes. Well, the majority of the people don't see themselves as having any opportunity to do anything about it.
Well, you see, this is the problem because, I mean, part of the problem is, of course, that policing tends to be in our faces. because of the authority that the police carry. But the police system also symbolizes the kind of alienation that we are having.
Yes.
I mean, for instance, the fact that so many persons, uptown and downtown, have essentially opted out of the policing system.
Out of the
policing system.
Yes.
In other words, who do people downtown look to in inner city communities? Look to for protection to the Don.
Yes.
Who do people uptown look to for protection?
Their security
systems.
Private security companies.
Private security companies.
Right.
And so therefore, when we hear that crime is trending down, we need to put an adjective in front of crime, which says reported.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
You see?
Yes.
Because
we're hearing also about all these missing persons. With not a lot of emphasis on that in the news.
Right.
Unless when it happens in...
because...
But there are a lot of people, there are a lot of missing people.
Yes.
Right? Who haven't been heard from. And I gather the number is in excess of, what is it, 1,000?
Well, certainly in, I think, 2004, it was about 1,900.
Yes.
And I think even last year, it was still in excess of our murder rate.
Well, for that period, I think it's over 2,000.
Right. It was, so I mean, certainly for the years that we have data, the number of missing persons has exceeded the number of murdered persons.
Yes.
And I don't think that we have,
well, as the murders have gone down, the missing has gone up.
Right. Missing. And you will notice.
It makes better, more, better PR.
So, yes. Yes, because also, as you know, you can always count in certain ways.
Yes.
Because someone has drawn to my attention once, the question of whether somebody who is injured and dies a few days later, a week later, is that person counted?
Well, that's a good question.
As among you see?
It's murder.
It's murder.
But it's
not immediate.
Is it counted in the figures?
So it may not be.
Yes.
And also, I think I heard you mention the number of police killings for the year so far.
Yes.
No, the last time before last year that the number of police killings exceeded 200 was in 93.
Yes.
No, we had 202 last year. And the figure I heard you give up till now was 224.
224.
Certainly the figure I have up to the end of November was 207.
207. 207.
Up to the end of last month.
Yes.
It was 207.
But you're now hearing 224.
Well, I'm now hearing 224 up to now.
Yes.
Right. So certainly that figure has to be...
And these 224.
Yes.
There is nothing to indicate that they have all been properly investigated.
There is nothing so far.
Yeah.
And you see, part of the issue is that when you have this kind of policing, in which police seem to get the green light for their actions, for killing.
You know the problem of Jamaica?
Yes.
The question is, are the people of Jamaica worthy of any better than they're getting?
But the question is...
Because people consider themselves to be worthy of better, then they would insist upon it and demand it.
That's it. Because, the question is, what kind of policing do the people want?
Yes.
And do the people currently have the kind of policing that they want?
Yes.
And if they don't, what are the signs that they don't? And I don't really see many.
Mrs. Sobers, I have to leave you at this point. It's time for the news,
All right, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Good to talk to you.
Okay, nice
and all the
you.
best.
Okay, we'll be back here in about 20 minutes.
Michael Dorset, who was killed in the Bull Bay area. And my recollection is that there was an eyewitness who actually saw the policeman chase him. And, so that clearly he was shot while he was running unarmed. So you know. So in that instance, the policeman was convicted.
Convicted of what? Murder?
Murder. And this was the first conviction since the black conviction.
Yes, and that when was that?
October 1999.
When was the black conviction?
In October of 1999.
October 1999.
Right. Right. So this was the first. But I'm saying that I'm not saying that the law must not take its course.
Yes.
And I'm certainly not saying that the presumption of innocence should not stand. It must.
Yes.
And that the person must be proved guilty.
But this is in the Janice Allen case, for example. This is not a matter of nobody is asking for the presumption of innocence to be disregarded.
Yes.
But on the evidence of that case, you know, I mean, when you consider that Janice Allen was shot, and was lying there on the ground for half an hour,
yes,
and the police refused to take her to the hospital,
right, and you see, I'm going to,
and then all this thing with the book,
yes,
losing pages and then being burnt, and all the police investigator being away from the island and not coming back. Hold on just a moment, Formula, please. No?
Good afternoon, I'm Jean-Paul Manu with Midday News on Power 106 FM from the Gleaner Power 106 News Center. Director of Elections Danville Walker is supporting calls for legislation that would allow the police to use voters' fingerprint data in criminal investigations. Former President of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, Jean Anderson, made the proposal yesterday. Ms. Anderson, who is also a Justice of the Peace, says such an approach would significantly assist in apprehending the perpetrators of crimes. More in this report from Damian Mitchell.
Several months ago, the police officially commissioned a national criminal database. The system allows for speedy retrieval of information on persons with a criminal record. However, there's no system in place to match the fingerprints of criminal suspects without a previous record. According to Mr. Walker, given the current crime situation, the proposal for such a legislation is timely.
Everybody should be willing to enthusiastically take whatever step to assist the police in the fight for crime and to enhance their investigative capabilities.
Director of Elections Danville Walker. In the meantime, Mrs. Anderson says she's aware that her proposal will be criticized, but she says it's a decision the country's political directorate must prioritize.
There are many of us who don't see the forest for the trees. I would say we could make as much noise as we want. It is so essential as a crime-fighting tool to put away those who are handling the crime situation in Jamaica.
Former President of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, Jean Anderson. Her comments follow concerns by the Mandeville Police that the lack of a national fingerprint registry has impacted their probe into the disappearance of Mandeville couple 75-year-old Richard Lynn and his 71-year-old wife, Julia. Damian Mitchell for the Gleaner Power 106 News.
In the meantime, opposition spokesman on justice, Delroy Chuck, is rejecting the proposal for legislation allowing voters' fingerprint data to be used in criminal investigations. He says during the process, the authorities could seek the approval of persons as to whether they would agree for their present fingerprints to be used for a national registry. Police investigators probing the disappearance of Mandeville businessman Richard Lynn and his wife Julia say they will be limiting their search to a major dump site in Manchester for the next few days. Assistant Police Commissioner Leslie Green says the police have reason to believe that the dump could yield evidence crucial to solving the case.
What we have to do now is a manual search of a large area that we've found of particular interest, and we're going to be concentrating that now over the next couple of days. We've had some information which we're acting on, and it's quite specific information, so we will continue the search. It's going to take a lot of time because there's a large area to search and a large amount of guard to be moved, but we are prioritising this, and we'll be concentrating our efforts over the next few days in this area.
Assistant Police Commissioner Leslie Green. He says no garbage is being dumped at the site until the police conclude their investigations in the area. ACP Green also says the 3 suspects, a woman and 2 men who have been held in connection with the Lynn's disappearance, are not likely to be charged until they undergo further interrogation. He also says the 2 male suspects have not yet had legal representation. The police have so far recovered several appliances and a Toyota RAV4 which were stolen from the Lynn's Battersea home near Ingleside in Mandeville. Mr. and Mrs. Lynn were abducted on the morning of December 10. The Hanover Parish Council is requesting $2.1 million from the local government ministry to refurbish a building to temporarily relocate the Hanover Fire Department. The department is scheduled to be upgraded. Secretary Manager of the Hanover Council, Alfred Graham, says the temporary site is located in the capital, Lucy. He says refurbishing work to the original facility will include the demolition of walls, repairs to the roofs and plumbing fixtures, and the construction of a new 2-story facility for welfare activities. You're listening to Midday News on Power 106 from the Gleaner Power 106 News Center. The time is now 5 minutes after 12. Caribbean airline Liat is getting another financial injection from its shareholder governments, which have already pumped about $15 million into the carrier this year. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says his country, along with Barbados and Antigua and Barbuda, would each put $1 million into the carrier. Liat is now in merger talks with the privately owned Caribbean Star. Prime Minister Gonsalves says Barbados Prime Minister Owen Arthur was mandated to lead a team to hold discussions with Caribbean Star owner Sir Alan Stanford as the merger discussions enter an advanced stage. International news, a suicide bomber has killed at least 10 people and injured a dozen others outside a police recruitment center in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad. Police say the bomber walked up to a group of recruits outside the police academy and detonated a belt of explosives he was wearing. The academy has come under attack several times before. Meanwhile, Iraqi police say 76 bodies have been found in various areas of Baghdad. A United Kingdom woman with 2 wombs is believed to be the first in the world with the condition to give birth to triplets. 23-year-old Hannah Kersey from Northam in Devon has had identical twins Ruby and Tilly, who were born from one womb, and Grace, who was born from the other. Scientists say the odds of having triplets from 2 wombs are around 25 million to 1. The condition, which is called uterus didelphys, affects 1 in 1,000 women in the United Kingdom. And finally, back home, the St. James Parish Council has blamed several factors on the current state of Montego Bay. Secretary Manager of the Council, Ian Reid, says inadequate resources, the inability to enforce anti-litter laws, and unhygienic practices of persons in Montego Bay are contributing to a deplorable state of the second city. Damien Mitchell joins us with this report.
The National Solid Waste Management Agency is the one that does the cleaning. The council pays the National Solid Waste Management Agency about $120 million per year to carry out this responsibility. But the truth is, 6 in the morning, you clean the place. By 9 o'clock, businesses that open dump all their overnight waste back on the place. You go back out at 1 again and you clean the place. And by 1:30, 2 o'clock, the businesses come out and dump the place.
That was Ian Reid, Secretary Manager of the Council. Mr. Reid was responding to criticisms by the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce that the Council had failed to prepare the town for the current winter tourist season. Those were the stories making Midday News on Power 106. Midday Sports is next.
Midday News. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. There seems to be, the news is calling it a new development. In the case of these 2 Lynns from Mandeville,
who are missing and have been missing now for more than a week, I think. They're looking for them in a dump, and I'm told that there is some, I don't know, it's almost an expectation that they'll be found there. So the impression one is getting is that the police are coming around to the view that these people, they're not expecting to find them alive. How very, very sad. But it's happening all over Jamaica. Question is how we're going to put an end to it. Put an end to all the crime and viciousness that is going on and injustice that is going on in the country. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, thank you. Is this Mayor Donald?
Yes, sir. Speaking.
Mayor of Montego Bay?
Yes, sir.
That filthy city?
Apparently, sir, yes.
Is it?
Well, I would not so describe the city of Montego Bay, Mr. Perkins.
But I hear that is the order, that is the sort of description that is coming out of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, sir, there are respects in which there might be some degree of accuracy to that report, but the fact of the matter is...
Well, you don't know for a fact whether it is so or not?
No, what I can speak to, Mr. Perkins, is the fact that the National Solid Waste Management Authority is charged with the responsibility of keeping Montego Bay clean.
Oh.
And I'm aware that on a daily basis, early in the mornings, the workers are out and they do a very good job, sir, of cleaning up the city of Montego Bay. The business people in Montego Bay, throughout the course of the day, sir, discard their garbage on the streets of Montego Bay.
Oh.
And I have in fact met with the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I appealed to her as the president of the Chamber of Commerce representing the business sector to appeal to her membership and the business community in general to cease and desist from what they are doing. And that has been to no avail, sir.
But then you're accusing the president of the Chamber of Commerce of being irresponsible?
Well, sir, that's your language, Mr. Perkins. But what I can say, sir, is that we have not been receiving the full cooperation of the business community in Montego Bay.
But it's not just that. I mean, if you have spoken to first of all, you say that the responsibility rests with the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
That is correct.
She is blaming the government and the parish council.
So I understand.
Right? Now, if she knows that that it is a national solid waste matter, how can she be blaming the parish council?
Well, Mr. Perkins, part of the problem that we have, sir, is that there are many persons in our society, sir, who fail to make the efforts to arm themselves with the knowledge and information that they ought to have before they make public pronouncements. And in this particular instance, I think the president of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce has been particularly guilty in that regard, sir.
But you're also saying, Mayor, that you are aware that the National Solid Waste Management Authority is doing a good job of cleaning up Montego Bay.
Mr. Perkins, let me put it this way.
Hold on. When they come and clean up in the morning, the business people mess up the place for the rest of the day. And you have discussed this with the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, sir.
And yet she comes out and makes a statement that she made.
That is why I find her statement truly amazing in many respects, Mr. Perkins. Because the fact of the matter is that in addition to that, the St. James Parish Council has gone to great lengths. We have set up the municipal police unit in the council, and we are out every day, sir. There are several cases that we have brought to court where we have had people before the courts, so where we're seeking to prosecute them on the basis of and these are business people.
Members of the Chamber of Commerce?
Beg your pardon, sir?
Members of the Chamber of Commerce?
I am not aware of their membership or lack thereof, Mr. Perkins. But you know, Mr. Perkins, that statement is truly unfortunate in so many respects because we have been working so hard at the St. James Parish Council. We have instituted, for example, a meet at Perkins because she speaks in terms of abandonment of Montego Bay, and that is, well, I find that just so absolutely outrageous, Mr. Perkins. We have been working so hard, sir, to restore law and order by enforcing the various regulations and laws that are entrusted to the responsibility of the St. James Parish Council. And to have the president of the Chamber of Commerce, who knows fully well, every week, Mr. Perkins, there's a column in the Western Mirror, which is our local newspaper, in which the St. James Parish Council outlines the various enforcement activities in which it is engaged. So the president of the Chamber of Commerce, as far as I know, sir, it can be charged with the knowledge of our activities. And so I really find her comments to be outrageous, unwarranted, sir, and in a sense I'm bewildered.
Oh. But I didn't get that impression when you started out.
That I'm bewildered, sir?
That you found her comments outrageous?
No, comments are outrageous, sir. Outrageous in the context of the fact, Mr. Perkins, that the work is being done. The National Solid Waste Management Authority lacks the requisite resources to be able to do a 100% job. But I can say positively that I am out early in the morning. I see the workers out there. They do an excellent job, sir, in the circumstances in terms of their resources to clean up the streets of Montego Bay. And by 10 a.m., Mr. Perkins, you have all these business people dumping their garbage on the sidewalks.
Oh.
And I'm saying that what we require is that...
Why aren't there more prosecutions, Mr.
Well, Mr. Perkins, very good question. Here's what the problem is.
Oh, hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mayor. Hello?
Yeah, I was responding to your question regarding enforcement.
Yes.
The fact is that the National Solid Waste Management Authority is the entity charged with that, primarily with that responsibility. But when the Anti-Litter Act was repealed, there were and the National Solid Waste Management Act was instituted, there were some regulations that ought to have been put in place to give teeth to the enforcement capabilities of the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
Yes.
And those regulations, as I understand it, were only just recently put in place. So the authority has not been able to effectuate its enforcement capability.
Now it's the National Solid Waste Management Authority that has this responsibility.
Yes, sir.
For enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Not the Parish Council has nothing to do with it?
Hello?
I'm asking, the Parish Council has nothing to do with it?
What we have thought to do is that we have thought to assist the National Solid Waste Management Authority in conjunction with the Island Special Constabulary Force.
But you have no substantive responsibility for it?
No, we don't.
And no powers in relation to it?
No, we don't. Except the powers that this Solid Waste Management Authority will vest to us.
Yes.
And it is in that context that the whole issue of the President's statement that the Parish Council has abandoned Montego Bay, I'm totally bewildered by it, because we are doing everything. Every week, sir, we have a multi-agency team spearheaded by the Parish Council that goes around the city of Montego Bay to identify breaches of various regulations, dumping of garbage, etc. And this is the Parish Council that does this on a weekly basis.
And you report this to the Solid Waste Management Authority?
No, the Solid Waste Management Authority is a part of that multi-agency task.
Oh, I see.
if the island special constabulary...
What are you telling me, Mayor? That on the face of it, anybody who looks at Montego Bay and sees Montego Bay in that condition and knows that there's a mayor of Montego Bay and a parish council are going to... The first thought is going to be that the mayor isn't doing his job.
Well,
you're telling me that the mayor, although it's going on the face of it to look bad on the mayor has no powers to deal with it?
I have no jurisdiction whatsoever, so over neither myself nor the parish council by extension has any jurisdiction whatsoever over the National Solid Waste Management Authority, and that is the entity, sir, and the president of the Chamber of Commerce knows fully well that is the entity that has sole responsibility for the cleanliness of the city of Montego Bay, the parish of St. James by extension.
Well, we're trying to get hold of the mayor, of the president of the chamber, right? And, we want to put these issues to her.
Certainly, I really look forward to hearing her response, because the fact of the matter, Mr. Perkins, is that, yes, there are times throughout the day you'll come through downtown Montego Bay and there's a garbage piled just about on several corners.
Yes.
But the reality we face is that when there has to be a line drawn. You cannot have a situation in which the Solid Waste Authority goes out overnight into the wee hours of the morning, cleans up the city, and then the business people, who are the ones who tend to complain the loudest, then proceed to dump their garbage on the streets of the city.
Yes.
It's certainly not acceptable, and I would want to think that a responsible president of a chamber of commerce would use his or her good office to exhort a membership, and even outside of the membership.
Why haven't we been hearing more out of the parish council and indeed out of the mayor about this?
Well, Mr. Perkins, we try very hard to work with the various agencies, and for example, the St. James Parish Council hosted a workshop to which we sent individual letters to every business place in Montego Bay where the Island Special Constabulary for Solid Waste Management Authority, because we wanted to have a full and thorough discussion and understanding of the National Solid Waste Management Act, so that the business people in Montego Bay would understand and appreciate that their business or commercial garbage, they needed to make private arrangements to cart that away. I believe only 3 or 4 business entities sent representatives. So the reality that we face is that on a daily basis, we are out there working in conjunction with the National Solid Waste Management Authority. The Island Special Constabulary is out there working. But the difficulty we face, Mr. Perkins, is that the business community is not cooperating. And there's another issue that the President raised, which is the whole issue of preparing Montego Bay for winter tourist season.
Yes, she seems to be more interested in the winter tourist season.
No, with the greatest of respect, sir.
Than with the health and...
My responsibility as mayor and as chairman of the council, and the responsibility, the primary responsibility of the St. James Parish Council is for the welfare and the well-being of the citizens of the parish of St. James. And our obligation is to ensure that we secure the well-being of our citizens, and I think it's a logical thought too that if you are doing that, then you are in a position to welcome anyone to your parish and to your city. We are not provided with any special funding at the parish council to do any major works, to make any special effort, so to speak, to prepare Montego Bay for tourism. Right. And so for it to be suggested that the parish council is failing in that regard, we find to be totally unacceptable. And we are not in the business of preparing Montego Bay for tourists. We are in the business of trying to ensure, hopefully with the cooperation of all our citizens,
yes,
inclusive of the business community, that we can keep and maintain Montego Bay in such a condition that our visitors, and perhaps more importantly, our citizens, will feel comfortable in its environs. But we have a primary obligation to the citizens who have elected us and whom we serve, who pay their tax dollars.
I should have expected that, sir. Anyway, as I say, we're trying to get hold of the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, Miss Pauline Reed. Would you listen in? And if you want to get back, just give her come in on the discussion.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Perkins.
All right. Good. All the best to you. I hope Miss Reed will find it possible to be with us. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Mutty Perkins.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you.
I'm a national...
Will you speak up for me, though?
Yes, I am an OECS national.
What?
I'm an OECS national.
OECS?
Yeah, meaning I came from the Eastern Caribbean.
Yes.
And I noted a very erudite discourse that you had earlier this week.
I'm not hearing you very well.
You had an earlier discussion this week.
Yes.
On slavery.
Yes.
And I thought that it was quite inspiring. I said the discussion on slavery.
Where?
You had earlier this week.
Oh, yes.
Was quite inspiring.
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, but I believe that you made the point about the legality of slavery. Back in the time that slavery came about.
Yes.
But I think that there's a fundamental point that we need to make. The point is, slavery came about as a result of racism.
Of?
Racism.
Racism.
In other words, if you look at the indentured laborers, the East Indians,
yes,
they were brought here and they were given less a task. In other words, the task that the blacks were given were a lot more taxing than the task of, say, for example...
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kingston. I'm on a brief holiday.
May I ask you? I'm going to ask somebody to take a number from you, and we'll call you back. We have with us the president of the Chamber of Commerce.
No problem.
So may I just ask you to hold on for a moment?
All right.
We'll call you back.
Okay.
Okay, just give a number. Okay, hello?
Yeah.
Hello, yes?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Miss Reed?
Yes, how are you, Mr. Perkins?
Not too bad, thank you. And you?
I'm very good.
Good.
Pretty good. Yes.
You heard the...
I heard
mayor.
some of it.
Did you hear the mayor?
I heard some of it, not all of it, but I heard some of it.
He said that your statement was outrageous and irresponsible.
I can't, tell him how to think or what to say, but what I can say is that Montego Bay is in bad shape, hence my writing that article.
I think he agrees with you on that.
Yes, and this is what I want. I'm not really here to point finger and to blame or so, but and I said that the parish council and National Solid Waste Management, I referenced in my interview.
I didn't see that a mention of the National Solid Waste.
Well,
in the story
Mr.
this morning.
Perkins, I did in my interview. I did make mention of the state agencies here in Montego Bay because I agree with the mayor. Some of it has to do with the National Solid Waste Management.
But he's saying that the parish council has no responsibility nor the resources to collect the garbage. That is a responsibility of the National Solid Waste.
I was not speaking solely to just the collection of garbage. I made a general statement about the depressed state of Montego Bay that Montego Bay is in.
Yeah.
And overall, the parish council is mandated with a responsibility to ensure that the city is run properly. If that has changed in recent times, then I'm sorry, I have not yet been advised. But I know that the parish council, to a large extent, along with the other state agencies, have the responsibility to keep the city up and running well and looking good.
Yes.
Now, as a chamber, we launched a cleanup campaign in July. And I heard your statement earlier on, and I'm sorry it came across that way to you where you think that I'm doing it just for tourism. But in July, the chamber launched a cleanup campaign where we were working with the state agencies to clean up Montego Bay first and foremost for us. And I am one of them. It's very disheartening to hear that statement. I am one of them that fights so much to make sure that we clean up Montego Bay for us, the citizens here, and to...
Well, that wasn't what came across in the story.
I know, and that happens a lot of times, Mr. Perkins. It happens a lot of times that way. Sometimes you have no control over what is, what the printed matter is. But, I am one of them, and the mayor and the other state agencies that I work closely with, they know that too, that first and foremost we try to clean it up for Montego Bay. I made reference to the whole tourism business because of the TEF funds, and then the start of the winter season. Because we have to remember, whichever way we want to take it, tourism is one of our main earner here in Jamaica, and we have to make sure that, we put back a little bit to make sure that it's attractive to the people coming here. Because it's only going to get worse if we don't try to enhance the product also.
But we also want to know that in the process of enhancing the product, you're enhancing, well, first of all, if you adequately enhance the living conditions or the situation in which our own people live, then you will have enhanced it for the tourists coming in.
And this is precisely the point I made.
Hold on just a moment for me, please. Hold on. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mom.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Yes. Overall, I just want to see us all come together and make sure that we fix up the city. I am not here to say that, I'm not working with the mayor or NSWMA or TPD or so. I work very closely with them, but I'm saying that the state that Montego Bay is in right now, something has to be, it's a state of neglect. Something has to be done urgently.
Yes.
I
think that the mayor agrees with you on that. But he also said that the National Solid Waste Management Authority does a job of cleaning up Montego Bay,
collecting the garbage,
and but that it is the members of the Chamber of he didn't,
and that's
the business people,
the business persons. He said it's the business people, and that's the point I agree with him wholeheartedly on, and that is the point. That's the point I agree with him on, that if the business people, and I have been told that because, as I said, I work very closely with them. When we launched that campaign in July, Mr. Perkins, we worked with the Parish Council and NSWMA. We walked St. James Street. I was one of them who said to the NSWMA, please take along. They have a warning that they give to business persons how their commercial garbage is to be disposed of. First you get a warning, and ticketed after that. You're fined after that if you don't conform. I was the one who said to them, let's do it. Let's warn them first. Let them understand first how their garbage is to be disposed of, and that they have a responsibility as business persons to dispose of their garbage.
And was that done?
Yes, it was issued initially, but the NSWMA is supposed to follow up, and where it's not happening, they are supposed to implement the fines.
I see.
And I agree wholeheartedly that if business persons are not conforming, then they must be fined also.
But are some of these
part of the system.
Are some of these people your members?
I have no doubt maybe one and two of them are, and it's something that we encourage every day in our meetings, that we need the business community to come on board. All of us need to come on board and to make it happen for Montego Bay. It can't be the effort of one person. But at the same time, I'm saying the state agencies have certain responsibilities. As business people, we try to work with them and, to do what we can, but it cannot be solely the responsibility of the business community. And we will work with them. And I, for one, will make sure that whatever we can do to support the system, we do that.
Yes. There is another problem that Montego Bay has, and that has to do with, the people who work in the hotel industry. They have to live somewhere. And I gather that there, as in other hotel areas, hoteliers and elsewhere, this is leading to a lot of squatting communities.
That is correct.
Right? And having a very bad effect upon the appearance and the, also social
situation here, the whole social fabric of the society. Right, and I did a presentation on that a few weeks ago also, where I spoke to the social fabric, and the deterioration, and begging the government also to assist with formalizing these communities. And not only just formalizing them, but what we need to do.
Well, I think that rather than, what ought to have happened is that the condition ought to have been anticipated.
Exactly.
And housing provided.
A proper
made
planning
available.
from Mr. Perkins. proper planning should have been done.
Absolutely, yes.
Establishing these communities.
Yes.
And this was what I spoke to. And it's not just about formalizing them, Mr. Perkins, because 70% of the young people in these communities are unemployed.
Yes.
Now, what I was pushing for
what
is
percentage?
About 70%.
70?
Yes.
70?
70.
Oh, hell.
Yes. I mean, so you see, that is very frightening. And, you know, I mean, what I've learned, I would love to see, and this is where the Chamber is trying to work as the business sector to see how we can fund something like this, is to create like a business incubator where we can actually train these young persons in skills. Now, I haven't gotten that off the ground as yet, but it's something that I'm trying to get the support for.
Yes, but train them in skills for what?
Different, but maybe furniture making, craft, you know, different things that they can be, you know, trained in so that they can make a living for themselves.
But this is speaking to the issue of the economy and the condition of it.
Well, I agree.
Where 70% of young people in places like those are unemployed?
Yes, yes. 70%. This is the latest figure that we have in these communities are not employed right now. And this is why, you know, I mean, I always say, you know, Mr. Perkins, I'm not saying that you don't have the hardened criminals that has to be dealt with separately, but crime to a large extent is a socioeconomic problem.
Yes, but look here. Nobody was born a hardened criminal.
I agree with you again. I agree.
The question that we need to consider in this country and think about it very seriously is how is it that so many of our young people are developing into hardened criminals?
And you know why?
What is it that we are doing to them that are making them hardened criminals?
Do you know why, Mr. Perkins? We have robbed them of the opportunity to create a life for themselves and their families. Okay? And I've often said that too. We have not given them the education that they need to educate themselves, the skills training, and we have not given them. We have manipulated the people of this country, the powers that be, and I'm not referring to any one side in particular or so, but we need to invest in our people if we're going to change this country.
And then when we do that to them, we have some people saying that what we should do is hang them.
You know what I mean?
Well, why not just go down to places like the Victoria Jubilee Hospital and grab them down there and hang them? On that argument, we would save ourselves a lot of trouble.
We need to look after our people much better, believe me. We need to.
Absolutely.
And you know, the IMF report is...
We need to make up our minds about it.
Right, because it's like we're sitting on a time bomb, you know. The IMF report spoke to that we must look after the social structure and the social fabric of our society.
Yes.
If this country is going to improve.
Yes.
We have to take care of our people.
And it seems to me that that many of these people that we are calling criminals are victims.
You know, I don't know how much time you have, you know, but I was speaking with one of the directors of the chamber the other day, and he was telling me about the incident, because this is something that is very strong on our mind. You know, I mean, I wish we had the funding that we could do a lot more, but you can understand the way a chamber operates, right? It's a non-profit, and we have to go back to our business community again and beg them for funding to do some of the things we are. But speaking to one of my directors the other day, and he was able to relate this incident where a young man had just come back out of prison, and he was caught in one of the supermarkets here stealing a bun and a drink, and they held on to him. And this gentleman, when he...
Hello?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
And right, when they held on to him, locked him up, and he explained to them that, you know, he was really, really hungry, and this was why he stole. That was when they released him. And now my director was there, and he took charge of the situation, and he offered this young man employment for a few days per week, and, you know, give him a salary.
Yes.
And my God, he says he's one of the better persons that he has working for him.
I beg your pardon?
I'm serious. So sometimes if they get opportunities, you know, I mean, people are not all that bad, you know. Sometimes it's the environment that we create for them.
Yes.
Do you understand?
No, your director says that he employed this young man.
He did. He
finds that he's one of the best, of the better persons that he has working for him.
Exactly, right. He works hard. He earned his money, and he has no problem with him.
Oh my God.
Do you understand? So sometimes people just want an opportunity, you know, and as I say, you know, there are different categories.
But you know, Mom, part of the problem here is that things like these happen And the country doesn't know about it.
They don't know about it, Mr.
Right?
Perkins. They don't know about it.
I mean, it seems to me that this is something that should be, with the agreement of the young man and of your this should be published all over the place.
Yes.
Right? This is the kind of thing that we need to have discussions about and so on.
And
here is evidence of what it is that is happening to the young people in this country.
Right, and we're actually going into a program, and this is modeled off what, Horace Peterkin has been doing too, where we're going, we're just formalizing now, where we're going to our members who are members of the chamber, and we're asking them to take on at least one person, one or the larger 1-2 persons from, some of these communities to see how they can
we need a lot more than that.
I know, but we have to start somewhere.
Fine, yes, all right. You have to do what you can do.
We have to do what we can do.
But there needs to be a lot more than that, Mom.
I know, and this is why I'm calling you.
And you know what? One of the things that we need is for business people to come up and take sides with those underprivileged people.
Yes.
Right? And when they see them being taken advantage of and being victimized and being made into monsters, they should stand up and say, no, this cannot go on in this country.
I agree with you, Mr. Perkins. Right. I agree with you. And I do agree, that sometimes, the business sector needs to play a more, a vibrant role in the community. This is where we all live, this is where they make their earnings. So give back a little bit to the community. And some of them do, but some of them have just associated themselves from the problem completely.
Yes.
And how, we are the ones who have to go out there and fight for, things to happen. And they enjoy a part of it. So
but in a way, you'll be fighting for yourself,
I know.
Because you'll be able to walk to travel the streets of this country more safely.
I know,
but
I'm
safer in your home, right?
I agree.
And
I agree with
and
you.
also, when these people have purchasing power, you're going to make more money.
Precisely. And this is why, everybody needs to come on board and let us work together. Don't disassociate yourself from the problem because it affects all of us in the long run.
Absolutely.
And this is the message I'm trying to send. Let's work together.
Yes, Mom.
I am not here to fight with any one person. I just want us to work together just to make things happen. Not just for Montego Bay, but for Jamaica.
Yes. Well, press on. Keep at it, eh?
Thank you so much, Mr. Perkins.
And good luck to you.
Thank you.
All the best. We take a break. We'll come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
We shall live in unity, you don't know your mind, Mr. Beads,
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. We don't try to put with sound.
Okay, hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm calling from Montego Bay.
Yes.
I'm a business person. Actually, I'm operating on Barnett Street.
Yes.
I was hoping I would have gotten you when you were talking to Mr. Reed on the mail.
Yes.
I am having a major problem. One of the problems I'm having is that I have a lot that I presently use as parking. And I have a problem to keep that lot clean.
Uh-huh.
Because whenever I have somebody who goes there to clean it up for me, they show a lot of bag with feces there.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, on the lot.
This is where on Barnett Street?
On Barnett Street, in the town.
In the town of Montego Bay?
Exactly. They throw feces in bags there, and even in the days I'm passing and I have problem talking to the men, they just walk by and they just take down their things and just weave on the lot.
Oh, God.
I happened to have called the mayor just a few days ago and asked him, what can I do? Because I think we need some bathroom facilities. I was mentioning that. He says, well, there are a few around the town, but they are not using them neither.
Uh-huh.
So I think if they make a valiant effort to put bathrooms in and enforce the law, because there's an anti-litter law. But nothing is being done in that respect. So I think, until we start...
Things fall apart. The center cannot hold.
I tell you, until we get these things in place, Mr. Perkins, we have continue to have that problem. Now, on the matter of garbage collection, it is a fact that some business people, they throw the things even out of utensils.
But shouldn't business people be more responsible than
Yes,
that?
I think so. Some people just throw the things, and especially the restaurants. They just you just see the boxes along where I am in the mornings. You see the boxes just strewn on the ground.
Oh hell!
And
out on the street?
On the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk.
Right. And another problem is the mad people, because they too sometimes the things are in utensils, and they just go and tear it up looking for food.
Oh God!
So it is a major problem right around.
Boy, let me tell you something. Is this a serious country? Are we really serious about being a nation, sir?
Boy, Mr. Perkins, it's an uphill task. I don't know where we're gonna start and where we're gonna finish. It's really a tough one. Because,
oh my God.
You're in your corner trying to keep things in place, and it's not working. I have a major task. I mean, you see...
It's not working, sir, because the center is not holding. That is what is happening.
Anyway, but I think, sir, the chamber and the parish council probably we need to put probably some bathroom facilities to start with, and even charge persons a fee, and then you enforce the law, because it doesn't make sense to try and enforce the law and you don't have the facilities.
Yes.
Right. So get some bathrooms along the stretch, whether like Barnett Street, the major places.
Yes.
And you have persons pay a small fee. I've been to other countries, and you go and use bathrooms, and you put in your token, and you use the facilities, and you come out.
Yes.
And it's kept clean. I mean, but here it seems like you really need persons.
Yes, but I tell you something. To pay the kind of what sort of fee would you be talking about?
Mr. Perkins, even at $20.
$20.
Everybody going and use at $20. It can facilitate.
How many people you think there are walking around Montego Bay
can find at
who
$20?
couldn't afford to pay the $20?
Well, I don't know, but whoever can pay them.
You see, it all comes back ultimately to the economy.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Right? The mad people who are walking about, they're tearing open boxes to find a little food, hoping to find a little food. That also reflects the economy. Those persons have families. The families can't support them.
Yeah, that is a fact, sir.
Right? There are no public facilities. I know that there is a group in Montego Bay that is valiantly working at it.
That's a Kumi. Right.
Right?
But they can't. I don't think they can encapture everybody in this.
Precisely. Right? I mean, what we ought to have are public facilities for helping people in that sort of condition.
Yes, sir. We need to, and I mean, there's the
but the government can't run with that.
There's the infirmary, but the infirmary cannot facilitate these people neither.
Absolutely, its resources are inadequate.
I don't know. It's really up to recently. I'm hearing now that I don't know if you have heard of the hospice down here.
Yes.
Somebody went in. It's at Albion. Somebody went in a few nights ago, raped the nurse, and...
I beg your pardon?
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. And these facilities, I mean, they have just moved into the facility probably about a year or so now. Yeah, so it's a relatively new facility, and it's an upstairs place. I don't know how they reach up there, but I heard they went in and raped one of the nurses.
Oh, God. And what was happening? What about the other people there?
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't get the details, but, oh boy, everything is just crumbling, you know.
Yes.
Yes, I say I'll just call you to
Thanks for calling.
Sort of highlight these problems that it's not just the business people that are negligent with whatever, but it's the whole fabric of the society has broken down, and the powers
things fall apart.
The powers that they are need to put things in place.
Mere anarchy is loosed upon this land.
Okay,
all right, sir.
Yeah,
thank you very much. We're glad to hear from you. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Yes?
Thank you for calling me. Thanks. I called you earlier.
Yes.
Basically, I was saying that Caribbean societies, including Jamaica, stands to win with people like yourself, simply because you are keeping democracy alive and well.
Are we?
You are actually doing that.
I didn't know that.
Because you are discussing issues that make sense, and you're opening up the minds of Jamaicans to a number of issues. But I made the point earlier that slavery, you looked at it in the legality, the context of legality, in the sense that you said at the time of slavery, it was done within a framework of legality.
Yes.
However, I was saying to you that the development of the middle class, whether it's in Jamaica, in St. Lucia, in Antigua, coming out of the post-colonial slave era. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
I believe that the people who came out of that experience, be they East Indians, be they what Jamaicans call the red niggers, which we will call the mulattoes, people who were born of mixed race.
Yes.
I'm saying to you categorically that the black people of Jamaica did not have a head start from slavery, from colonialism, and hence the impact of the social and economic problems. For example, the question of teenage pregnancy is a major problem in Caribbean societies.
Yeah.
And we need to address the problems that came out of the slave era. So to say that...
but let me tell you something, sir.
Yes.
I don't think that teenage pregnancy, as we know it today, was as much of a problem 60 years ago. I don't think so.
I respect that view. However,
I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I looking back, I mean, I rather doubt that it was this. I mean, look here. Today we hear stories of girls, schoolgirls, having sexual intercourse on buses, right? With men whom they encounter on the buses.
And you know why they're having sex?
I never heard of that when I was a boy.
Buses?
Eh?
Are you aware of the reasons why they're having sex on school buses?
Well,
because of the economic problems, perhaps.
This may well be so.
But we are saying that the impact of slavery brought about a number of social ills. For example, the breakdown in the family structure.
Yes.
People having too many children that they can afford.
Yes.
Some of them spill over as criminals on the streets, etc. Well, so the point I'm saying is that racism, coming out of the European racism, which brought about slavery, is now being felt.
Well, let me ask you something. For how long we have been out of slavery now? For what is it? A couple of 100 years?
Yes.
We have been out of colonialism now for 40 odd years, 40 years or so, right? For how long are we going to continue to allow what other people think of us to rule our lives? When are we going to start saying, well, you know, whatever you think of me is neither here nor there, right? This is what I think of myself, and that is what is going to determine my life.
Are you saying to me too Are you saying to me that the value systems...
What?
The value system...
Yes.
...that came about as a result of colonialism... is still not effective, is still not...
hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes. Hello, how are you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was saying that I buy the argument that, for example, we should not keep hacking the question of slavery. Because I believe that, for example, the university has empowered a number of black people in the post-colonial era. For example, lots of people have become very educated. They have started
would you keep your voice up for me?
Yeah, people have been educated through the university system. They have now started their own businesses and so on. But I believe that the value system that I'm talking about, which comes out of the slavery and colonialism, has been kept alive by the same black people who are being educated.
Absolutely. But not only the black ones.
Yes.
By all the different complexions. Right? And by part of our problem in this country is that we do not see ourselves as a national unit. Right? We see ourselves as black people and brown people and this color people and that color people, and some live in this place and some live in that place, and we ascribe values to these positions, and we think that what the ones who live in the great houses are entitled to the ones who live. It comes from the paradigm of the plantation.
That's correct.
But surely we have brains. We can think if we want to, and we can think ourselves out of those restricting circuits.
Do you think that there is an equitable distribution of income in the Jamaican society? And let us take a cake, for example. Put a cake on the table. And if we were to share the cake equitably among the Jamaican population, do you think that cake can be equitably distributed?
What do we mean by, sir, that word equitable was used by the democratic socialists of the 1970s, right? Michael Manley's regime.
Jamaican socialism, democratic socialism.
Yes.
But America gave you a backlash.
no understanding.
America gave you a backlash because of democratic socialism.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Of course, the CIA.
No, I don't think so. I think that what happened in Jamaica as a result of democratic socialism is explained, or in the 1970s, is explainable by the processes that were going on here in Jamaica, and we don't need to go abroad to find explanations for it, right? But the thing is this, that word equitable was used to mean equally, and equitable doesn't mean equally, right?
Yes.
If one man works hard and produces 100 units, he deserves to be paid accordingly.
Okay,
if the man beside him doesn't work as hard and produces only 40 units, there is no reason in my view why he should be paid the same as the man who produces 100 units.
Okay, but
would not be equitable.
Okay, I understand the argument, but I'm saying that the cost of living has to be taken into consideration. If we are saying in Jamaica that a home is valued at the cost of a home is 30 million Jamaican dollars.
Yes.
And we are saying that the ordinary salary of an ordinary person is something like 10,000 Jamaican dollars. Can you understand the problem in trying to achieve the question of a home ownership?
Yes.
So you see, so equitability comes into play, Equitability comes into play.
Well, equitability has to do with fairness.
Yes, that's right.
What is fair?
Yes.
Right.
But the society doesn't provide the level playing field for all Jamaicans to aspire.
Well, the society not only does not provide the level playing field, and on a level playing field, some will lose and some will win. Right?
Okay, let me tell you that I'm from St. Lucia.
Huh?
I'm from St. Lucia.
Yes.
I'm from St. Lucia. And I've just voted in an election to bring back a former Prime Minister who is now 80 years of age.
Yes.
With Sir John Compton.
Yes.
And the reason why we're doing that, and we had to ignore the poll, the so-called poll by Bill Johnson.
Absolutely.
And the reason why we ignored the poll is because we looked at the record, the track record of Kenny Anthony. Kenny Anthony is a very educated person out of the university system.
Yes.
But what has happened throughout the Caribbean is that the university has been putting out a lot of learned people who have no common sense. No common sense. Having a PhD, a professor, or having a 2 master's degree, there are many people in St. Lucia who basically, they just have common sense and they run a business and the business is prosperous. Very successful. But we, over the last 20, 30, 40 years, we've been putting a lot of academics into the running of government, and I think that we're having a backlash from that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. I'll tell you something. A professor up at the university there wrote an article in one of the papers, I think it must have been the Gleaner, on Sunday, in which he said that if 2 things happen simultaneously, it does not follow that one caused the other.
That's true. that's exactly the case, you know. But I believe that...
That is what?
I think what you're saying is exactly the truth, you know.
That is not true. That is nonsense.
You meant what the guy said?
Yes. It's absolute rubbish.
Okay.
If 2 things happen simultaneously, it is out of the question that one of them would have caused the other. Right?
But have you had an opportunity, Mutty, to go through the other Caribbean islands?
I have visited most of them.
Okay.
Not for very, I haven't lived there or anything like that.
Well, I had an opportunity to live in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica.
Yes.
I've been to the Cayman Islands. I've been to Montserrat. I've been to St. Kitts. I've been to Dominica.
Yes.
I've been as far as China. I just came back from China.
China?
Yeah, I went to China on Caribbean media.
You must tell me about that.
Actually, 2 Jamaicans out of here were part of that delegation in 2003.
Yes.
When we were selected by the Chinese, the Republic of China, People's Republic of China.
Yes.
They selected about 21 of us. And I followed the press secretary of Kenny Anthony in St. Lucia. I was the other person who went along with Earl Bousquet. And we went into China. We went into Beijing, a 14-hour flight, non-stop. We went into Beijing, and then we went to Shanghai and to Xiamen province.
Yes.
A very interesting tour. In fact, it was an eye-opener. And I also learned a lot from what China had to offer, you know?
Yes.
The other thing, too, is that I think that China is poised to be the other world leader.
Well, I tell you something. I am inclined to think that in 50 years' time, China is going to be the world's greatest power.
That's correct. You know, the number of skyscrapers that I saw going up in China. You see, America is afraid of that, you know, because a lot of the multi-magnates have gone over to China and putting up all sorts of big skyscrapers.
Yes.
And China is supposed to be a developing country. But to me, it is way above that, you know.
Yes.
Now, also, the population of China is 1.3 billion people.
Yes.
They are going there. The so-called capitalists are going there in order to take advantage of the low salary scales, low wages.
There was an item in the press recently about a development that is occurring in China where they are opening up free educational opportunities for something of the order of 150 million young people.
Yes. And in fact, what I discovered too was that I spoke with a number of young Chinese women And they said they don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe in God, for example. Quite a number of mass of young Chinese women and young people generally who don't believe in God. They're into Buddhism, you know.
Well, the Buddhism believes in some God.
Well, and I found it a bit, you know.
They're not Christians.
They're not, really.
Yeah, well, nothing too wrong with that.
I suppose so. But certainly...
Hold on for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. So, he made about 3 telephone calls to Arthur Tree, the corporal. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes. And he said, tell the Black Maria come for them 3 criminals that were up that station. All this time, I don't know what happened, you know. And he don't know what happened, you know. Tell the Black Maria them 3 criminals that were up that station.
When was this going on? What year was this?
1966.
66?
Yes.
Oh.
This is what I say. This thing going on, man. You listen to this story.
Well, let me ask you something. What eventually happened?
Well, I can tell you what happened. I have to tell you a little piece of thing right here, so man. It's an important part. After he used the telephone, called the thing, he went in the back of the station, and the man said to the sergeant, "Sergeant, can I use the telephone to call my wife so that you know where I am, because tomorrow is Christmas." It was Christmas Eve. And the sergeant said yes. And as the man took the telephone, him run back his hand, grab the right hand. Him said, "No, you use the telephone, you watch it, not it, man. You're sleeping in a jail." So the man said, "Can anybody in here call my wife for me?" I said, "Give me your number." And while the man was reading out the number and said, "If you leave out of the station, I'm going to charge you for obstructing policeman's duty." I said, "Me, you know." So I said, all right, he went on the back and I walk out to this place, you know, Vina Road. You hear me?
Yes.
And I saw, and I asked him to use the phone, and I used the phone and called the wife. I said, "I don't know what I'm just going to your wife, your husband." You know what really happened, Mr. Perkins? The inspector came from Arthur Tree. The man never thief nothing, you know. It was some change making trouble. The man said, "Went to the gas station and present something like 10 shillings," and the man was giving back 10 and penny and came back with 10 shillings. But he had the change and called him back and said, "I have change." And when he came back, he came back with penny short. And he said, "Well, I told you I have change, man. I made a mistake. I could give you the change right." And the little boy said, "Watch him go on, Daddy. Penny, Daddy, I'm hungry, And he boxed him. And then his other brother come out and thumb him down. And that's where the war started. But here's the criminal joke. Do you know that the man had a gun in his pocket and the policeman didn't know?
Yes?
Yes. And do you know what happened?
What happened? Hello? Okay, sorry about that. Yes. Okay, hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, Mom.
Good afternoon. Season's greetings.
Yes, thank you very much. Same to you.
I'd like to ask you if you could help me with something. One is really, I mentioned something in today's newspaper. The first is that I cannot be online and talk to you, so I can't read the article. I read an article online this morning, which brings me to the first point. I applied to Cable and Wireless in September for ADSL, you know, the high-speed dial-up.
I don't, but anyhow.
Yes, the one that would allow me to talk to you online and be reading the newspaper article at the same time.
Yes.
Now I have to hang up the phone in order to be making this call.
Yes.
Because I wanted to refer to something that I read online in the Gleaner. Cable and Wireless told me that they are so sorry, but they cannot give me a port because they are not. I live in Christiana, and there are not enough ports. I suspect because all of a sudden my phone bill since the start of September, because I have to be online, because of the nature of my work, I must use the internet. And all of a sudden I figure that they have me on their database. So there would be no hurry to put more ports in my area because I have to pay more, I have to use the internet, you know. But that aside, on the 23rd of November, I took a group of students. I teach in the community college system in central Jamaica.
Yes.
And we took a trip. They are hospitality and entertainment tourism students, and I took them to see the People's Museum and the square in Spanish Town. And then we took a bus ride out to Port Royal. When we were finished walking through the port and looking at the Giddy House, we wanted to go. There's a small museum with some artifacts, museum style you go through. Well, there was a gentleman sitting there. Although the man has not yet gotten up off of his seat, he said, go walk through the place, and when you finish, I will come. He had some pictures, like you would have some display boards stuck beside him. He was sitting on a bench. There are two benches there on the fort. To my amazement, I pick up the newspaper today and I see where there's to be a grand exhibition on Port Royal artifacts in Miami, Florida.
Oh.
At the end of January, something like that. If you look in the paper, I'm sorry I can't be making the call and reading the paper. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My students and I wanted to go. I said to the students, where are the period pieces? Where is the pirate? Where is the person? Where is the display that would give you a feel for what Port Royal was like during that era?
Yes.
I'm sure if I could put them on a plane and take January, they would see it. It begs a question about what is happening to our patrimony, period. I take that road through Trelawney often, going through the cockpit country, because I have deep interest at a school deep in the hills of Trelawney. And Mr. Perkins, let me tell you that for me, I'm wondering, having taken the trip to Port Royal and having read the thing today, I am saying we are slowly selling every piece of patrimony, everything that is of value. Maybe I don't understand it.
But the items that have been taken to Miami for this exhibition,
are they coming back?
Are they coming back?
I'm asking you.
I assume so.
And I hope they'll be back in time for World Cup cricket. I noticed a vague line in the article. If somebody could find it, you would see it.
Yes.
That says that the exhibition will come to Jamaica later in the year.
I see.
Because my deepest concern is when people come in April in the ICC World Cup and take that bus ride to Port Royal, like I did at the end of November. These are students. There was nothing. We paid our fee, walked in the sun, came back. I had to say to them, well, the most you can do out of this is an academic...
hold on. The exhibits were not there.
Well, they had some... what I'm saying to you, we simply walked through this museum, looked at some things. Nobody was there to guide us. We read what we wanted to read. The man who was supposed to be doing the tour guide sat down there and said, oh, you walk and look. When I'm finished, I will come. He never joined us.
Oh.
But I'm saying that you would have to go out there to see the pitiful display. I'm saying that the rich historical artifacts must be gone to Miami for this exhibition.
Well,
I'm hoping, because there was nothing there for us to see. And it begs the question, is it that all of these things have been sold off to other museums, leaving us here bereft? I don't know. I would love somebody to answer that question.
I don't know. It would be interesting to have it answered.
Yes, please.
But I wouldn't assume that it is so.
Yes. Well, I hope so, and that it comes back in time for us to go there and see, because that Port Royal is one of our greatest historical treasures.
Yes,
and you need to go there to see that there's nothing there to see, Mr. Perkins.
Well.
All the best.
Okay, Mom.
Take good care.
Thank you very much. All
Happy
the best
holidays.
to you too. Time for another. Hello?
Hello, Sapi.
Yes, hello.
Seasonal greetings, man. Seasonal greetings.
Season greetings to you too.
I've got it for quite a while. Monetary factors. So we can make it quick, Traveling on the buses from Spanish Town to Kingston or to Half-Tree. Like on the coasters, when they play this loud music and things, I choose not to travel on it. So when I travel on the white bus, that's the big bus and call the city bus.
Yes.
My situation is now you have some self-fucking preachers, As I enter on the bus, I pay nice preaching, when I say preaching, but to me, most of the time is nice,
Oh, yes?
Yeah, man, because when somebody are going to make a preaching, different thing, right in years,
Yes.
So I believe we're supposed to have equity, They said preaching and the music should be classified as same, and these people should not be there to molest us, So that's just my thing.
But what the devil is going on?
Yeah, man.
I mean, why can't you have quiet on the bus?
can't travel on the bus in peace, you know. If I try to protest, it's like, say, boy, you're early and this and that, you know. But likewise, I don't want to hear any lewd music. I don't want to hear that type of thing in my ears, you know.
And I hear that they that these preachers are attacking other you know, sects and offending some people.
Yeah, man. Sometimes there are some things to say which, you know, like for instance, this lady was telling that she's a done and have a young girl to get pregnant, you know, which I feel was very stupid, you know. Any young girl in the bus want to get pregnant, just touch her hand and it's stupidness, you know. To me, you know, I don't know for them if it was good, you know.
Hold on a moment for me. We have to take a break, eh? Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, sir, P.
Yes.
What I'm really trying to say, I'm not a regular traveler, traveling every day, you know. But I have to go in regularly still, you know.
Yes.
So what I was trying to run from, you see, like the coasters now, you're pushing and shoving and you can't get a good seat.
Yes.
That's why I result back on the white bus, you know. But when I started to hear them first, like, you used to have like, say, example, like a blind man, he appeared to be blind. I just give him credit to say he's a blind man, you know. He would say some gentle words of Christian thoughts and thing, and sing a few songs. Walk up the island back and get a few dollars. But what I'm happy to see happening now.
Oh, is actually somebody in the bus?
Yeah, man. Somebody, always passengers in the bus. But
the preacher man.
Yeah, preacher woman too, you know. But I'm saying, with the original of this guy, you know, because he was a little blind man, you know. But other person have taken up the trade and it's becoming too huge, you know. Like plenty younger people, you know.
Yes.
They're just quoting a few scripture here and there, and it's creating conflict because actually the tendency of having fight, you know. Because particularly one night I was coming over, I'm half a tree. That was on one of the smaller bus, you know. The coaster bus. There was this lady criticizing a dreadlocks was on the bus, you know. When I say dreadlocks, they have on the locks and thing. And they get up and say, Selassie, you know. And it create a friction where the driver have to break up, you know, because it seems as if there was almost a fight could happen, you know. Because she was criticizing the man back and forth, you know.
Yes.
And that thing can't continue on the bus, man, because it's a
no, something needs to be done about that.
So I'm just calling upon the authorities to try to sort out this preaching.
All right, sir.
You know?
I hope they're listening.
So thank you very much. Christmas season. So okay then, here.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hi, Mr. Perkins.
Hello, yes, good afternoon to you.
I'm just calling about the cable and wireless situation. I'm calling about the cable and wireless situation.
Yes.
I have a DSL system.
You do what?
I have a DSL system.
DSL system?
Yeah, the internet.
Speak up a bit. Raise your voice for me.
The internet.
Speak directly into the phone.
Yeah, I have an internet system with them, and it's not working for the past weeks now, and I've been calling every day, and them say we're going to send a technician, and up until now, I haven't, because I could go online and email or anything like that, and that can't work.
They're doing you a favor.
Exactly so.
You're not paying for that service, you're getting it free.
Maybe so. And you keep calling, and there is nothing. But they're quick to send you a bill.
Yes. They send you a bill?
Yes, they send me a bill.
Oh,
because
you're joking. I thought you were getting it free.
No. The first time when I signed up, when I get the bill for the month without making a call, it was $7,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't ask them to come and install it for me. I get somebody to come and install it for me.
Yes.
And I pay $3,000 for the net speak, and to rent the DSL, you have to pay. And no, I can't get anything from the internet at all. And I have an international line to make out overseas call. I'm not getting not even a dial tone to it.
Oh.
There is nothing I can do to the internet. And my daughter is studying and she can't go on the net to do anything. So I wonder what the system is all about. Maybe I need to really switch to digital.
Well, I tell you what I think you need to do. Well, that's one possibility, right? Switch to the competitor.
Yeah.
Well, that probably
because I don't have it for a month now, and I constantly have to call them. When I just get the line, them say 3 days I will get dial tone, and actually 3 weeks before I get a dial tone, they come in and them set the internet and everything, and then it's only.
And you've been paying for all that.
And I've been paying for it.
No, man, that's nonsense.
So I'm gonna call him and tell him to come and take it out my house because it can't work.
Well,
may have to switch to somebody else where is much reliable. They're not working.
There's
on
another
weekends when
possibility.
they try to call
Call them, write them a letter, tell them that you've been paying for this thing, you've not been getting the service, right?
Yeah.
And you're giving them a day. In which to
10
come and get
working
it
days,
fixed.
within 10 working days
Or you're going to
before
take the matter
a
to the
technician
courts.
can come.
You're going to sue them for it.
And if you call on weekends, the phone will ring constantly
Yes.
before an operator can answer to say, what is the problem?
Don't
and
bother
sometimes
call them.
pressing it not...
Don't bother to call them. Write them.
Okay, thanks.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we take a break. We come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Finish this argument now with you.
Huh?
Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I was talking about the policeman. Because let's finish here right now.
Which policeman?
With the man who arrested him, the policeman arrested him.
Yes, but look here, sir. What is the problem? What?
The inspector. After the inspector got this information from the man, I had to nudge my friend to tell them to explain what really took place. No, this is my final point I'm making.
Was the man charged? Was the man charged?
No, but this is my point now, sir. After a week or so, here is the policeman and the man walking up and one of his good friends drinking a bar. And the man who I stand up for, don't talk to me, and the policeman looks at me.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay. Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Perkins, how are you?
Huh?
How are you, Mr.
I am not too bad. Speak up for me.
Anyway, you've been talking a lot about what is being done to our young people.
Yes.
I would like to suggest that you're using the wrong tense and that you should talk about what has been done to our young people.
All right. But has been done suggests that it is done and finished. Right?
No.
Has been done is a perfect tense, isn't it?
To some extent, yes.
Yes. Well, it is
could
perfect.
say it's
has been done means that it was done. It is done and completed, finished. Right?
To a large extent, that is the case.
Whereas this is still being done. It continues to be done. Am I right?
There is some continuity, yes.
Yes. So the proper tense.
The more important aspect is the part that has already been completed.
You think so?
Yeah, which is that of bringing them into the world without proper provision. No, for instance, we don't pay enough attention to what is written in our Bible.
I'm not hearing you.
We don't pay enough attention to what is written in the Bible, in the law of Moses. For instance, Exodus 21, which tells us that the child brought into the world without any inheritance is really conceived to be a slave.
I see.
And of course, nobody in Jamaica takes any responsibility for the welfare of those we breed as slaves.
I see.
Yeah, hello?
Yes. So who is the slave master now in Jamaica?
No, that is the interesting part of it. Before I go into that, let me mention another thing first. You asked the question whether teenage pregnancy was considered a problem 60 years ago. No, the fact is it was not considered a problem because it was considered the normal thing for especially black girls.
Teenage pregnancy, sir?
Yeah. Remember, the age of consent was under 14. The normal thing in rural areas was that the black girls had to prove that they were not mules. Don't tell me you don't know about that aspect of our culture.
I didn't know that.
It go into that of old Jamaica. My mother, who was a teacher, told me a lot about it. She's from Salt Spring in St. James. So the whole idea was that people had these numerous children in the hope that they would somehow get jobs working for some master and support their parents in their old age, there being no formal social security.
Yes, and what is their hope now?
Pardon?
What is the hope with which they're having children now?
To a large extent, that still continues, but it is not being satisfied.
You mean you think that women are really having children, hoping that they will get jobs when there are so many of them out there already not having any jobs?
That is what I mean by the hope not being satisfied. Our politicians who have pandered to this kind of thinking in order to scrounge votes, claiming that they would bring prosperity to the country by magic and make the jobs to be there.
Well, why would they be promising to bring prosperity to the country by magic? And why would anybody believe them having regard to their failure to perform?
No, it is now that we're seeing that they have failed. No, the failure is now becoming evident, and is evident in the social deterioration that is overtaking the society. That is the manifestation of the present failure.
I see.
But when the promises were being made from 1960 onwards, in the first few years...
That is not quite true, sir, because in the 1960s, things were going a lot better than they're going now.
That's what I'm saying, what's happening in the first few years.
Yes.
But our politicians have not had the ability to sustain it through one thing or another.
It's not that our politicians have not had the ability to sustain it. It is that
our society.
No. Don't cast the blame so wide.
No, I was about to say that the regime of the 1970s didn't vote itself into
the chief architect of the failure was the Michael Manley government of the 1970s.
But I was saying he did not vote himself into office.
No, but he managed to persuade people by sweet mouth and so on. Charisma.
People do have a responsibility to do a little thinking for themselves.
Yes, indeed. I entirely agree with that. But if we thought that Michael Manley was bad, it seems to me that P.J. Patterson was far worse.
I agree with you there.
In terms of leadership. I don't know where Sister P is going at the moment.
But there remains a fundamental thing that people, when they set about bringing a child into the world, must give some thought to how that child is going to survive in the world.
Yes.
And too often people in Jamaica, and not just Jamaica, but the rest of the world, for instance,
what you're really suggesting is that given the conditions that prevail in Jamaica at the moment, people should not be having children. At least the people among the majority of the population.
Not as many.
A few people who live in places like Norbrook and so on, Barbican, wherever. But people who live in places like Frenchtown and so on what should they do? Sterilize themselves at an early age?
No, we've had this argument before about the ability of people of African ancestry to control their sexual urges. No, I am very much of the opinion that African people can control their sexual urges. And first,
what they should go for is celibacy.
Not necessarily. We can even use birth control. We can even use birth control. But improve our own economic situation before we bring children into the world to suffer and squalor and want. To bring a child into the world to suffer and want, I think, is a crime against humanity.
Yes. So while the people in places like Frenchtown would not be able to have children, the politicians who are directing affairs and leaving them in the situation where they can't earn anything and their children are not likely to earn anything, those politicians will go having all the children they want to have.
No, the question is whether those people in Trenchtown will continue to support those politicians. Again, I call on them to do a little thinking.
Yes. Good question.
Which is why I say again, the people must think. The people must do some thinking.
I entirely agree with you, sir. Entirely agree with you. But then they're not getting when you consider what is coming out of places like the University of the West Indies, right? Is it any wonder that people are having difficulty thinking things out for themselves?
No, it isn't. But it isn't. But there is a serious problem there, because those who foist themselves on us as leaders are doing more misleading than real leading.
Yes.
But there is no. You may say that, again, if I may refer to the Bible, it says that by their fruits ye shall know them.
Yes.
And I think we have had long enough to see some of the fruits of those coming out of that institution. Again, I say again that we have the Bible itself available to us.
Yes.
But we don't take it seriously, and we don't read it with care.
I see. Anyway, thank you very much for calling. I have to go. We're out of time, eh?
Okay.
That brings us then to the end of Perkins on Line 4 today. We'll be back, hopefully, tomorrow. Usual time, usual place. We look forward to your company. So long.
You've been listening to Perkins Online on Power 106. Join us again tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for yet another edition of Perkins Online. The People's Program is on Power 106 FM.
We got the program, man. Very good program. I'm going to hope we did have some more program like this. Program for the sometimes we just sit down and wait till 2:30 to come to start.
That's right. Lang and Company.